Running a small business means I wear lots of hats. When I put on my hiring hat, I can count on LinkedIn Hiring Pro to make it easy. LinkedIn Hiring Pro helps manage my hiring workflow, puts my job post in front of a unique network of professionals, and matches me with the best candidates for my business. I can also share my job with my network. No other job site lets me do that. No wonder most small businesses say they'd use LinkedIn Hiring Pro again. Hire right the first time. Post your job for free on LinkedIn today at linkedin.com/quality.
This episode is brought to you by Accenture. When your advertising operations fall out of sync, everything else follows. Spotify and Accenture are working together to reinvent the rhythm of ad sales, using automation, analytics, and smarter workflows to simplify campaign delivery and access better data across the business. The result? Less time spent on operations, more time connecting brands with the moments and fandoms that matter most. Learn more at accenture.com/Spotify.
And we're back with me, Johnny McMurray, on the On the Spot Football Podcast for yet another fantastic guest. I mean, it's hard to get that out there. We've been laughing there. Tonight's guest is an Irish League legend. He's been at one of the biggest clubs he's played, and he's also managed through probably one of the strangest times in the club's history. It's my pleasure to introduce Scott.
Thank you, pal.
Scotty.
It's lovely to be here. Lovely to be here. It's been a long time coming.
It has been.
Yeah.
We've tried this for about a year. And I've got to say this, you've probably came up the most times out of ex-players and ex-managers.
Yeah, I don't know how to take that, pal, but...
and it's all been quite positive, so
yeah,
no knives in your back, no nothing. Yeah.
That's lovely. I always try to be honest and wear my heart on my sleeve, and the Irish League, listen, served me well, and I'll always be an advocate. I want to see the league do well, I want to see Glentoran do well, and so on. So yeah, you know, I mean, I came in '98 and I'm still here after all these years.
Yeah, we were laughing there, and that's what kind of choked me up, because as I was saying this to you, like, by the end of this accent, or by the end of this episode, there's probably a good chance that I'll say something Scottish and thinking I don't know why I do it. And
see, the thing is, Johnny, see when I go back home, you know,
does it get worse?
No, they a lot of people think I've lost, and I have lost. If you look at maybe videos when I first arrived in '98, '99, like I am.
I mean, if I'm in Scotland for 20 years,
yeah,
you think I was.
You're Scotland for 2 weeks. You're Scottish.
I'm telling you, I'll get whiter and all. Oh, but no, listen, thank you. It has been quite a long time, but you're busy, mate. You're flat out with work. You travel a lot. You do a lot of different things. So it's an absolute pleasure to have you in.
Thank you.
You have a fantastic story. I've done my research through bits and pieces. Now, they're not with me on this, as most people know. We kind of wing it. We have a conversation. So there's plenty to go through. Your career, the injuries, the ups, the downs.
Yeah.
We're probably going to talk about the state of the league at the minute and where you think it's going to go to and where it has became to. And you're probably thinking, Jesus, I wish the money was involved 25 years ago whenever I was playing. You'd have been happier. Do you know what I mean? But we always start back at the start.
Yeah.
So you're a young lad, you're from Scotland, you've opportunities to play football. How does it go for you?
It was really cool. I was obviously, you know, brought up in Glasgow, and, you know, my father was like most fathers, you know, a huge backer of their children, and he saw that myself and my brother had a wee bit of talent early on, and my dad was involved in football. So my dad was apprentice at Chelsea for a couple of years under Tommy Docherty when he was a manager. And then he went into the junior game in Scotland, and the junior football in Scotland. You know, you've got clubs like Auchinleck, Talbot, Overmeadow, Pollock, Petershill. You know, these clubs get 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, you know, regular. You know, so it's even though it's called junior, it's like semi-professional for Scotland. So my dad had a good, you know, decent career there. He moved into the coaching and what have you, and management in the junior game, and brought up myself and David, you know, hard. Like, my dad was hard on us.
Yeah. You
know, he saw we had a wee bit about us, and but every Sunday we'd be taking up Maryhill Park and hammered. So there's one thing about us, we were fit.
Yeah,
right? Hammered. And then we went into the boys' club situations, and you know, I spent most of my boys' club career at West Park, which was a great boys' club. With a great manager, a guy called Tommy Fitzsimmons, who left a huge impression on me, because by that stage my father, he was working offshore. Okay. You know, so 26 weeks of the year, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, he's away. And my manager at that time, Tommy, he would come from Kilsyth all the way to Somerston where we lived, and to train in Bishop Briggs, and just, I mean, you're older and you look back on people like that. That's why I've got so much, you know, appreciation, respect for people who take kids football, because the element of work that has to go in there, the amount of family life that you're missing out on by dedicating yourself, you only appreciate that when you're older. So with a great, really good boys club, and then it was about, I suppose, 14, 15, Johnny, that, clubs were, so it was like Hearts and Hibs, a few different Easter holidays, summer, October holidays and what have you. My brother had already signed, David was 2 years younger, but David had already signed for Rangers at that point. He was at that age, he was a real good talent. It was him, Barry Ferguson, and then above him was Charlie Miller at Rangers, and these were, David was looked upon as the next one to come through and what have you. So then I suppose it accumulated. We played I what do you call it? I had 7 clubs offered me apprenticeships, Rangers being one, but I never went to Rangers because my brother, he was, coming up there, and we decided to sign for St Johnstone. And St Johnstone at that point, they'd put massive money into their youth development. Jeff Brown was the chairman of the football club. He brought in a guy called Alistair Stevenson from Rangers, and he just took over the whole youth setup. And actually at that point, so you used to call it YTP over here in Scotland, it was YTS, Youth Training Scheme. And the majority of the football clubs, like 90% of the football clubs in Scotland at that point, that was the YTS scheme you were going on. So it was a £28 a week. Yeah. Right. But St Johnstone was £90 a week. First year, £120. Second year, so it's
sums you up, man.
At 16, you think at 16, you think you're a million.
Yeah, I'd do the same. I'd be like, Rangers.
But so went to St Johnstone when I was 16, with my great mate, Robo Stephen Robertson, who played many games the first team for St Johnstone, played over here in these latter years for Ards. We were apprentices together, staying in digs together, so Monday to Friday, and you grow up fast. You have to grow up fast, because you're in a man's environment. And ironically, my first boss at St Johnstone was the Northern Ireland legend, John McClelland. He was the boss. And Kenny Walton, who was a Newcastle legend, he was the assistant manager. And Kenny had took a sort of shine to me from day one, and he was really good. He made me the captain of the reserves at 16. And at that point, we were playing in the Reserve League East in Scotland. So you were like Dundee United, Montrose, Arbroath, Forfar, Cowdenbeath. So you were all over the east coast of Scotland. And then if you done well, that accumulated into a Reserve League West, set up against the Rangers, the Celtics, and what have you. Aberdeen was also in our league because geographically east of Scotland. And so my first couple of years at St Johnstone were really, really good. I made my debut in the end of my second season against Stranraer, down in Stranraer. At that point, St Johnstone are in the first division. They're not in the Premier League. When I joined, They were in the Premier League. And
still paying the same money though.
Yeah, basically, because I wasn't what do you call it? I wasn't first year pro at that point. Yeah. Still an apprenticeship. So I'd what do you call it? The club had offered me a 2-year pro. By that stage, Paul Sturrock is the manager, who was an older people know, a Dundee United Scotland legend. Fabulous player. But for whatever reason, he never, and as you know, Johnny, it happens in football, he never really took a shine to me.
Yeah.
And, felt as if it's not going to work. And he let me go, and the assistant manager was a guy called John Blackley, who, again, Hibs in Scotland legend, real tough centre-half, John Blackley. And the minute I got released from St Johnstone, I was at McDiarmid Park, and he contacted Bert Payton, who was the Dunfermline manager. And Dunfermline's in the Premier League.
Okay.
St Johnstone's in the first division. I'm being released. He phoned Bert to say that I've been released, and I was told to make my way an hour down the road to Dunfermline. And Bert Payton had a 2-year contract waiting on me, which was lovely because your emotions are all over the place.
Yeah, 100%.
You're being released.
Young lad, just
you're
over.
you're doubting your you know, where I can make it in the game and that sort of thing. So drove down with my dad and, you know, signed a 2-year contract. So it was crazy the way it kind of worked out. And the Dunfermline side then, there were so many Glasgow boys, like senior players who I knew, they knew my dad and all that sort of stuff. Players like Alan Moore, Jerry Britton, Harry Curran, like men, Johnny. Do you know what I mean? And teach you about life, you know. And
eye opener there enough when you go in.
huge eye opener. But they took me under the wing, you know. So we used to travel every day. There was 5 of us, the Glasgow boys, and it was brilliant. Every Wednesday, I'd be designated driver and I'd drive Murray's the BMW 5 Series, and they're going to the pub.
Yeah.
Right. Do you know what I mean? Right. And I'm bringing them home, and Murray's wife, Kim's, you know, she's going off her nut going, what's going on here? And I'm like, there's the keys. You know, back into my own
45 mile an hour. I've still got the R plates up.
Yes, mate. Yeah. But, you know, so my first season at Dunfermline went really well. I got into the team at the end of the season. I scored against Hearts at Tynecastle on my debut, which was an amazing feeling because Hearts were a real good side at that time. Big Davy Weir, Neil McCann, Gary Locke, Stevie Fulton, Gary Naismith, you know, they were a right good side. And John Robertson, who's one of the biggest Hearts legends, he scored the equaliser in the 92nd minute. And I'm like, Jesus, man.
That was me, like.
You know,
tabloids everywhere.
Yeah, you know, 18 I think it was at the time or something. And it would have been lovely, you know, you scored the winner on your debut at Tynecastle. So what do you call it? You know, then I played the next couple of games against Motherwell and what have you. And then it was pre-season, the following season, and I got a hamstring injury, which put me out for about 6 weeks. And that's not to say that I was going to start for them, because I wasn't. No. Do you know what I mean? There was senior players there who were better than me, but they signed a Brazilian called Sergio, and the big man could play, and, you know, never got a look in on my second season, and then your contract's up, and you're released, and, you know, you're kind of going, geez, you know, am I good enough to make a living at the game and what have you? And it was my uncle's brother, my Uncle Roy's brother Ian, Dennis, who used to play for Sunderland.
Okay.
And Stan Ternant was a friend of his, and Dennis had mentioned, you know, my situation. We went down to the Stadium of Light. Sunderland were playing Burnley, and anyway, long story short, Stan says, look, come down following week, right? And I spent a week down there, played a reserve game against Tranmere. It was a Pontins Reserve League game against Tranmere at Tranmere. Played really well. It was a famous ex-Republic of Ireland Newcastle player, Liam O'Brien, and he was playing, big guy, 6'4", Middle Park, like, you know, could play. And I was playing against them, and I played really well. We drew 1 each, but I scored a free kick. You know, a nice goal. And the next day, Stan Ternant offered me a year's contract, and it wasn't a lot of money.
Just 1 year?
You know, it wasn't a lot of money, and I'm thinking, I need to leave. I'm still at home. I'm still living in mum and dad's in Glasgow.
But you're only, what, 19, 20 at this stage?
20. And I'm thinking, Jesus, it's hard, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is.
And then, totally out the blue, I get a phone call from Roy Coyle. And I remembered so he said, you know, Glentoran manager, and the first thing that came into my head was,
where the Glentoran?
No, I'd been over here, pal, in pre-season with St Johnson.
Okay.
And we played Glentoran, Portadown, and Ballymallard, I think it was. And the thing that struck me about the Oval was, this is one of the best pitches I've ever seen in my life. Because see, back then, the Oval was Wembley.
Yeah,
it was beautiful. So this would have been 94, 95, something like that. And when he said manager of Glentoran, that's the first thing I thought about. I remember that pitch in that stadium. That was like old school. It was magic. And he was talking to Bert Payton. And Bert Payton, you know, which was lovely to say, look, listen, the boy just needs first team football. I can't guarantee him first team football. He needs to go and play. And the gaffer says, look, I want to give you that opportunity. And I remember saying to him, I'm not coming on trial. Do you know, like a wee cocky Glasgow White
like
boy,
I've played.
You know?
I'm
Aye,
not doing that.
do you know what I mean? Like I
But
said,
at that stage, you're probably like, you're in the right to do that. You're not.
yeah, but do you know, like,
Especially if you just went to
What-
potentially sign a contract for Burnley, you're saying going, I'm not going to Glentoran
Aye.
trial whenever I've got a year
Yeah.
contract here at a massive club in England.
yeah, and so I spoke to my dad, and it turns out that it was George Ferris, I think the guy's name is, who worked with my dad. My dad was working in the shipyard in Belfast. Happened to mention to this guy, my boy plays football, he's signing for Burnley. It looks like he's signing for Burnley with me his contract, and this guy has phoned the gaffer.
It's so mad how it's such a small place. Because I was just thinking about this, and I was going to say, like, whenever you're talking about, it's all about who you know. And you have conversations around Belfast and Northern Ireland about such and such needs a club or such and such is coming back. Give him a shout and get him into training.
Yeah.
It's very small. Everybody knows each other. But you've done that with your cousins who know people in Southampton.
Yeah.
And then you're going down there.
Yeah.
You're getting the contract off of your cousin.
Yeah.
And then the next minute, your dad has a conversation with somebody in the shipyard
It's crazy.
while having the...
But that's the funny.
Cup of tea, probably.
That's the funny things about life. You know, you just do not know what's around the corner, and things come up unexpectedly, and that's what happened. And so the gaffer's having this conversation with. I remember I'm sitting in the hotel room in Burnley, and he's having this conversation with me. But so they'd just come home from. Sorry, I tell a lie. It was the day before they were going out to Israel to play the second leg against Maccabi Haifa.
Okay.
And at that stage, I'm like, I'm going to keep an eye on that result. You know,
Yeah.
Sort of thing. And it's ironic because my big mate, Pete Beattie, one of my best mates in life, my big midfield partner, he scored out there in Israel. And so anyway, I discussed with my dad to say, look, Roy Call's been on the phone here, Glentoran manager, and he meant, son, what are you going to lose? What are you going to lose, right? He says, there's a year's offer on the table there from Burnley, but what have you got to lose? And I remember coming there, and Billy Stevens, and a man that I adored. Billy owned the Park Avenue Hotel in East Belfast and treated me so well. And he's came to pick me up with the gaffer at the old Belfast City Airport.
Have you met Collier at this stage?
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm interested to see how this goes.
And so, again, upbringing, I believe, is everything, Johnny. You know, it doesn't matter where you're from in this world, but if you're brought up, you know, with the right morals, the right respect, treated elders well and what have you. So my dad had drilled it into us, both me and my brother, that see things like that, you're smartly dressed. Yeah, so I arrived with a suit on, and unbeknown to me, that really impressed the gaffer.
Yeah.
The gaffer's thought straight away, because I've had these conversations with him. He's from good stock.
Yeah.
Right? So those wee things, you know, you've made an impression on somebody before you've even looked at my mouth.
Professionalism.
Aye, yeah. And when my brother was at Rangers, you know, at that stage, when David was there, when Gascoigne and Loudrop and that were there, you know, when they were an amazing team, every single day it was shirt and tie, Rangers shirt, Rangers blazer, you know, apprentices. And what do you call it? The first team had to come in suited and booted under the great Walter Smith. So it was those things. So I arrived and we went back to the Park Avenue, right? And it's a Monday night. We're playing Coleraine on the Tuesday night. And he's told me I'm playing. I don't know anybody, right? I tell a lie, and you call Nixon because Nicky, as a young boy, used to come over to Rangers.
Okay.
And it was so him and our David were the same age, right? And Nicky stayed the odd time at mum and dad's house, right? So
again, small world.
Oh, jeez, man. So, and again, the milk cup situation, all that, right? We met so many people. And I remember walking into the changing room, and Nicky's come out straight away and you know, gave me a hug and all that sort of stuff. But I don't know anybody. And Big Leaper was injured, but Leaper had scored a hat-trick against Cliftonville the Saturday before, right? So he wasn't injured, he was we niggle, but he was going to play the next night, right? And John Devine and Pete Beattie and blah, 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 and, you know, Chris Walker. And it's crazy because something just felt right straight away, right? So it gets changed and we're training in the King George, right?
Okay.
Which is just across from the Oval, right? And behind, right? And Jimmy Brown, who's assistant manager, Jimmy, brilliant. And anyway, said to all the players, right, line up, and I'm like, what's everybody doing here? And they were marching across the grass pitches, right, identifying any glass or any dog shit, right? And I'm like, what the am I doing here? I'm like, right. There was 2 guys hitting golf balls, like we are 3-wood, the driver, right? And I'm like, what the what's going on here, man? And anyway, and the gaffer tells a story that as soon as we started training session, and he knew after my first touch that I was a player, right? Or that he said it was a good player. So, anyway, so train with the boys and that, and then the gaffer pulls me in afterwards. He's like, "You're starting them all right?" Right? I says, "Right." He said, "We're going to play 3 in the middle, right?" He says, "It's going to be yourself, Philip Mitchell, and Paul Lehman, 3 in the middle park." And I says, "Right, okay." And so anyway, Corey, the UTV came the next morning, right, to the Park Avenue Hotel. The last in reception says, "Hi, Scott, Ulster Television's here to do an interview with you." I've never done an interview in my life, right? Okay. And I'm like,
panic.
What? Like, did not, know if somebody can get that footage somewhere. Oh my goodness! And then getting up on the bus, Radio Ulster, and it was in Scottish debutant, Scott Young playing tonight, and I'm like, Jesus, right, okay. And then I remember getting into the warm-up, and I couldn't believe the size of the Glentoran crowd. It's Tuesday night. I'm like, oh my God. So, it's obviously early in the season. I think it was the 2nd of September, so it was something like that, right? So, maybe only 3 or 4 games in. Mm-hmm. Pitch was beautiful up at Coleraine. It was immaculate. It was a lovely, end of summer's night. And Nicky scores an OG. We go 1-0 down. And we come back and won 3-1. And I had a really good game. You know yourself, Johnny, as a player, where you've played all right, played well, played really well. I knew that I'd played really well. And afterwards, boss back down to the Park Avenue, and the gaffer is in the bar area with Philip Russell, God rest his soul, David Chick, Billy Stevens, God rest his soul, Ronnie Rutherford, all the Glentoran directors. And he says, "Come and see me tomorrow morning, son." I says, "Right, okay." So I'm going to see the gaffer. Gaffer was full time. Obviously, that was his job. And the Glens offered me a 2-year full time contract, 52 weeks. At that time, Johnny, I think Big Vinny, who I was at St Johnson with, who was at Portadown, I think Vinny was the only full time player in the league. So he'd offered me a 52-week full time contract for 2 years, significantly better money than what Burnley offered.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, jeez, right? Phone my dad. My dad's buzzing, delighted.
Well, he has you over here then.
Aye.
So he's probably like, happy days.
Yeah.
And see you all the time.
Absolutely, pal. And he loved going to the games. And my dad passed away there in November. So still raw. I'm all man talking about my dad, but he loved it. The friendships my dad built with Glentoran people, just last forever and that. So that was it, pal. I signed for Glentoran, 2 years, 2-year contract. Fell in love with the place, like genuinely loved the club, loved the situation. So, like Johnny Jamieson, who's one of the greatest Glentoran players ever. And old Jamie was the assistant groundsman with Sammy Glover, right, the groundsman. So Jamie used to take me training every morning.
Okay.
Every morning. So I go down, and because of my stature, Johnny, I had to make sure I was fit. I had to always make sure I was the fittest player at the football club, because I wasn't a big boy, and I wasn't going to, my strength and weight, so I had to make sure that nobody could get near me. So Jamie, and just, he was amazing with me and taught me so much. So Jamie would take me out Newton Arms Road on a Saturday after the games.
Okay.
And
show you what life's like.
And I'd be with Jamie, and so, the wee small hours in the morning and all that stuff, and he'd look after me, and his son John, and I'm we're godparents to their boy Greg, and but I'd never forget those first couple of years. Were amazing learning experiences, and the first season was just amazing. The club hadn't won the league for 7 years, and I couldn't believe it. How the support that we had, was just It's not a level. Like, see my second game. So I've played against Coleraine the Tuesday, and the Saturday we're away to Newry, right? And the Glen men, when you play at Newry in the change rooms back here behind the goals, right?
Yeah.
The Glen men were from that corner flag all the way up to that corner flag, and it was like, it's just some size of support this football club has, you know. And then you start to do your history, and you get to
the
know
magnitude of the club,
and you're like, oh my goodness. And we were getting beat 1-0. Frankie Hiles sent off by John Devine for like 30 odd minutes, right?
Okay.
And it was back to Oz, and I remember the gaffer saying to me before the game, there was a player called Gary Peebles. He used to play for Linfield. He played with Partick Thistle back in Scotland, and I knew Gary. You know, I knew of him. Sorry, you know, he was older than me, but I Gary Peebles. Yeah, played in Scotland, the rest of it. And the gaffer's like that to me before the game. He says, "Son," he says, "you know, pass and move." He says, "Don't get caught on the ball." He says, "First chance he gets, he'll do you." Right? And this is no disrespect to Gary, right? But I'm like, aye, very good. Yeah. You know, he was confident. I was young, confident. I knew I could play and all that sort of stuff. We come back and won the game 2-1, and I think it was my second game. The Glentoran fans are singing your name, and I'm like, 4 or 5 weeks ago, I was released. I was lower than a snake's belly, you know, just you know, maybe going to look at see a job outside of football and all that sort of stuff. And then fast forward here, I had 2 great results, signed a 2-year full-time contract, good money, and these fans are singing my name. And getting back in the bus, back up the road, I always remember this, Philip Mitchell, who played with the Glens, played with Linfield, smashing player, brilliant player. And we had a real good chat. He was talking to me like a father figure. And he says, look, I'm not going to get in this team because of you, right? He says, but listen, you keep doing what you're doing, you know, keep doing this, keep doing that. And I felt, that's unbelievable. How professional, how nice is that? You know, gentlemen, you know what I mean? More or less saying, I'm not going to get back in this team because of yourself. Yeah. But look, keep doing this, keep doing that. And you know, and I've never forgotten that, because 9 times out of 10, Johnny, people want your place. Yeah, 100%. And it's ruthless. Shit or whoever they have to shit on to get to that, right? Yeah. So that, and I'll never forget that with Mitch. You know, just the diamond, one of life's good guys. You know, but that whole season was just so surreal. But we won everything apart from the Irish Cup. You know, so to bring the league back after 7 years was just so special. And by that stage, there is just a bond with those players, the supporters, because when you're winning trophies, it brings people together. 100%. You know, and you know, the team was unbelievable. It didn't matter who were playing, we knew we were going to win. And I mean this because I've had these conversations with Big Davey, and they would probably say the same playing us. 100%. That they felt, don't care who it is, Glentoran with these players, and the same with us with Linfield, and they players. We knew we turned up, we're going to win here. And that mentality and attitude was just, you know, it was there. And the gaffer ruled by fear. You know, you don't play well, you're out. Gone, yeah. You know, and it's... there's something about that, though, that keeps you continuously on your toes. Oh, do you know what I mean? Like, it does, like, if I don't perform here, inner belief, or you know that if your confidence goes, like, you shouldn't be in. Absolutely. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely. I feel like that's sort of gone. Yeah, I can only go from the era that I played in, but I knew that if I didn't perform, then, you know, there's a chance I'm not going to be in the team. Now, you know, I had an unbelievable relationship with the gaffer, and I always felt that I was going to play. Yeah. There was very, 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 very few games that I never, you know, kind of started as such, and that's no bragging or something. That's just, you know, it's natural talent. Yeah, it was just, you know, the way it was. His thing was, so he used to say to me, right, as a centre midfielder, right, you get on the ball and you play, you make us play, right. Like Pete beside you, he'll take care of anything. Does the dirt and you go and Pete, what you need to give him the ball. And the gaffer used to always say to me as well, right, I need you making 2 runs beyond their centre halves each half. I need you each half to put the striker away one-on-one with the goalkeeper. If you're doing that, you're doing your job.
Yeah.
You don't see that nowadays.
No.
You don't see,
Well, it's side to side now.
Yeah, you don't see centre midfielders going beyond, right? You don't see, getting the ball and going like that.
You see how, to be honest, I was going to say I can't, and the only person I have seen do it recently is Bellingham.
Yeah.
And he's done it a couple of times in England, and he's reaped the benefits. He's got like 3 goals in the World Cup.
Don't give it, there is players out there that do that.
But I mean, continuously. That was that third man run was always the most dangerous run.
When you used to play against, obviously, smashing Linfield teams and all that, and Tony Gorman, Ian McCooch, Stephen Beattie, and what have you, they're gone.
Yeah.
Shit, I need to track this. That sort of thing. So that element of the game was gone. But that stuck with me. I have to get on the ball. I have to put the striker away one-on-one with the goalkeeper each half, right? And I have to make 2 runs beyond. And so, like, a wee example of the gaffer. So, like, in my first season, I only scored 2 goals. I set up loads.
Yeah.
And he says, I need more goals for you, right? And my second season, I scored 17. Granted, there was a few penalty kicks in that.
Had you just taken the first year easy?
Well, no, because my first season, Johnny, was a dream.
Okay.
A dream because at the end of my season, mate, on the 2nd of May 1999, I met Eleanor, right?
Okay. This is the wife?
Yeah. Okay. And it was amazing. And 2 weeks later, me and Eleanor in Lanzarote, right?
Okay.
And we flew from Glasgow, right? And we come back to Glasgow, and the phones went, and my mum says, it's Roy Coyle. And it shows you how, like, everybody knows your business in East Belfast, right? And the gaffer went, hey, you've met a wee girl from East, son. And I says, I have, gaffer. He says, get your ass back here. I want to offer you a new 4-year contract.
All right.
Full time.
Right. Was it, so, see, before we go any further, the initial full-time contract, which is unheard of. I think you said Vinnie Artins was...
I think he was only
the only one who's on that, right? What's your day look like at that stage? Because there's no one in the club. You're full-time. But
no one.
I mean, when they say full-time, you're still part-time.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You're on a full-time wage, 52 weeks, but you're part-time. You're left to your own. Now, the gaffer had that trust in me that I was coming... Because the gaffer was in every single day in the office at the Oval, right? So he was there every day, so he saw me.
Yeah.
He saw me, and he was more than happy for Jamie to take me training and what have you. So he knew that I was...
doing something.
Doing my bit.
You weren't just... Yeah.
But if you wanted that... If your attitude was that great, then you could have laid in your pit all day. Do you know what I mean?
Did that speak volumes for you coming across that someone you never met wanted to offer you a full-time contract at a part-time club?
Absolutely.
Because it's so bizarre.
Made me 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
And I knew I had to back it up.
Well,
but I had that belief and confidence that I can back this up. So, like, and again, it's no being disrespectful to all the great players that I played. I played against some great players in the Irish League. Great players, Glenn Ferguson is up there at very, 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 very top. But I always remember playing against Glenn Dunlop at Crusaders.
Okay.
And Glenn Dunlop was some football player. Now, he was centre half, right? But he's a massive Christian. He has his own chops and all that sort of stuff. And he could have played easily high ends at SPL. He was that good. So and again back then, like when I look at the players that I was playing against, they could all look after themselves, and I wasn't the biggest of boys. Do you know what I mean?
Do you feel like they were men?
Oh, they were men.
Yeah,
they were men. I remember playing against Lee Docherty, and Lee Docherty caught me a cracker.
Okay.
A cracker. I was playing with Glenavon, and Lee was obviously a Linfield legend, and he caught me a cracker, and I was like, but I had that bit as well. Getting you back, prick, right? Excuse the language, but that's the Glasgow mentality, and any good football player should have that. You know what I mean? You're not getting away with that sort of stuff.
1-0 near enough.
But I remember he picked me up as well, and he more or less telling me, you're too good for that, and all the rest of it. In the same game, Sass, Mark Glendinning, great friend. Me and Mark have both went through the same situations, losing their wives. So, been to very dark, deep places. Sass is playing for Glenavon. We're beating Glenavon 4-0. And anyway, I've kind of done a trick, like a Cruyff turn or whatever, right? And he's
Yeah.
My ankles are up here, my heel's down there, right? But I've got up and through the bottom. I went, there you go, pal, is that what you're looking for? Right? Oh, he's lost it. Do you know what I mean? You're me, right? No, right. And the next season we're teammates, right? But, you know, that Glenavon team back then, it was Alan Dolan at right back, Sass at left back, Big Jeff Spears, Aaron Callahan, that was a back four.
Yeah. A horrible back four too. From what I've heard from people talking about each individual near enough.
They'd have killed you.
Real nasty.
They'd have killed
footballers,
you.
Like.
But I had a scenario where the Glentoran players, and that was a young side, but we could all look after ourselves. But with people like John Devine, Pete Beattie, you know, Chris Walker, who you know were hard as nails, and then you people like Tim McCann and Rory Hamill, and that, you know, again, you know, nobody's going to shut out the top of them as such. So you'd people there who also, even my size, I would never shirk away, you know, and but there was just this. You were playing in an era where you were playing against real men. Yeah. And it was so, like, you know.
To be fair, nobody would have let you shy away.
No.
Do you know that way? So you didn't have an opportunity to go, that's not really my game. It was like, if you don't do this, kid,
100%.
You ain't going to survive.
100%. But, you know, my as I say, I played for 5 years. My career was over 2003. Bad leg break, never recovered from. But, you know, I've something like 15, 16, 17 winners medals in those seasons. You know, we were winning three competitions every single season. Yeah. And each season was a major. If it wasn't the league, it was the Irish Cup. Yeah. And, you know, so from that period, 98 to 2003, is Glentoran's most successful period in history. Trophies won. And I take enormous pride in that. And yes, it was me and all the other players, we contributed. But it's when, you know, you look back, Johnny, on your career and you go, well, I was part of an amazing Glentoran team and we're all still pals, by the way. You know, I met Lockie and Dan Lockhart and Paul Lehman in Spain there a few weeks ago, man, and it was just like, we haven't seen each other in years. Yeah. And you're back, you're in the moment, you're in the dressing room.
It's normal.
It's amazing, mate. You know
you're
yourself.
Still best mates, but...
You know, listen, mate, you've been there and done it, you know what I mean? You know that situation. So to look back on all the most amazing experiences and happy times and the league championships, the Irish Cups and all the other trophies, it's you know, it's amazing and you know, it's something that the gaffer used to always say, money's nice, but memories are even better. Yeah. And winning trophies is what it's all about. That's why you're at this football club. You don't win trophies, you're not going to be here and I'm not going to be here. And it was just instilled into you that second's nowhere. It's nowhere. And, you know, we had a manager who ran the club with an iron fist, but got results. Yeah. Brought us trophies, brought us success, and kept everybody on their toes. You don't perform, you're out.
Do you think there's something to say about the old school regiment of managers being managers?
Yeah.
When you look at the Alex Fergusons of the world, who dictated who they signed, used their own budgets, done everything, looked after the club, had their own way near enough, and now you've got, not to be brutally honest here, but I want to be a GM of a football club, I want to go into those technical directors roles, and that's something that I would love to consider doing. Yeah. But that's kind of taken away the bigger picture from the manager, do you not think?
No, but I think there's a role for the GM.
Yeah,
you know,
yes. Well,
I think there's a role for the GM. I mean, like when you look at Sir Alex, when you look at Walter Smith, you go back even further. You know, the Shankleys, the Jock Steens, and what have you. They ran the football clubs top to bottom. Mm-hmm. You know, and like Sir Alex Ferguson ran Manchester United top to bottom. And as he got older and older and older, you know, all his experience came to fruition. Be it, you know, like they say, he knew every single kid's name that was in the academy and all the rest of it. You know, just that's a talent. Yeah. To be able to do that and have that empathy, have that compassion, make those parents feel as like 10 feet tall and all that sort of stuff. The modern game is just crazy regarding social media. You've got this to do, and so the manager has less to focus on, less on the training pitch and all this other stuff. Yeah. So I do think there's a role for GMs. But if I look at, you know, my two football clubs are Rangers and Chelsea. Like what's going on at Chelsea, again, only my opinion, and that's the great thing about the game of football. Everybody thinks they're an expert.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they know better.
Well, I've could play in England for the amount of times I've tried to say Liverpool are doing the wrong things.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's not. So it's like, you look at, we had Roman Abramovich, who refused to accept second best.
Yeah.
You get rid of Carlo Ancelotti after 3 months if they're just doing the double.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Right. So it's like, and these technical directors were appointed from Brighton and all the rest of it, and it's like, woof. Thankfully, we've appointed Alonso and given him the title as manager, and you just feel like they're learning from their mistakes, and the fans only happy, blue go out, and they've appointed somebody of real stature, and they've given him the manager's role. So praying he's going to have more of a say on the signings. But when the gaffer was doing it back in his day at Glentoran, it was him.
Yeah.
Everything, him. You negotiated with him.
That's the way it should be, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And so, everything was down to him. The game obviously has moved on. Truthfully, is it for the better? I don't think so.
No, yeah.
I don't think so. And it's not to be negative. I look at football right across the globe, and it wasn't that long ago you're talking about the R9s, the Ronaldinhos, the Zidanes, the Thierry Henrys, and all these other players. You put on La Liga on a Saturday night, Sunday, and it was just full of all these superstars. Superstars, right? And, nowadays you're looking at it and you're going, I mean, for instance, the World Cup. Seeing the World Cup was previous, you could mention 20 superstars off the top of your head. Yeah. You could go through every single team and name those players 1 to 11. I can't do that now.
No.
I can't do that now. But, the game has moved on. And it's life. Life moves on. Life goes in different directions and what have you. But football does not have the same appeal to me as it once did. And there's a part of that that's quite sad. But unfortunately, that's life.
Yeah. When we talk about your 4-year deal,
yeah,
you meet the missus within a couple of weeks. You've been offered an extension.
Yeah.
Which obviously means the world to you. You're settled. You couldn't be at a better place. One thing I have to speak to you about, and it's a question that's been burning to me, is I need to understand your first opportunity to play Linfield and what that experience was like. Because you've came from Scotland, your first game with a big 2. What was that atmosphere?
I'll tell you. So it was in October. So signed in September, it was October. And listen, the Glasgow Rangers boy, right? And I goes out for the warm-up at Windsor. And the place is already rammed. The cop. And they're singing every Rangers song going, right? And I'm going, it's your songs. Fuckers hijacking us, right? And something happened that happened every single Glentoran Linfield game when he played, right? Big Chris Walker used to leave the warm-up 10 minutes before everybody else, especially at Windsor. And Big Chris has a Glentoran tattoo.
Right.
And he just walked towards the corner flag where he went up, right? And he just lifted his shots up.
Just to get a reaction.
And that blue men are gone mental. Yeah. Mental. And it was crazy because I remember getting in after the warm-up and maybe I shouldn't say this, but this is what I was being called. I was being called you wee Glentoran Fenian, right? and I'm like, what? Honestly,
like, no one knows. You just took you as a Catholic.
Do you know what I mean? Right? No. At this point, they knew. At this point, they've obviously known. But they've known that I was a Glasgow boy. I was a Rangers fan because it was in the newspapers and all that sort of stuff. But I was like, but it just that hatred, Linfield, Glentoran. They'll call you whatever and all that sort of stuff.
They hated you that much they tried to turn you into a Catholic. So
well, I
mean,
yeah. So that stuck with me, and I went, Jesus. And then, so Lee Feeney, right? The talk was that Rangers, he was going to get the move to Rangers and all that sort of stuff. So Feeney was playing the middle of the park that day with, was it Ian McCush? I'm not too sure, but all the talk was about Lee. And he had a good game, so he did, right? They went 1-0 up. Big Pete Beattie came on as a sub and equalised. So it finished 1 each and just run into that north stand. and oh my God, it was just amazing. And everybody had told me in the build-up, this is it, right? And
kind of prepping you for it. Did you, at that stage, think it'll be all right?
Aye.
And then...
Yeah. I'm used to Rangers Celtic.
Aye.
And by the way, nothing's like Rangers Celtic.
No,
right?
Yes, I get it.
But that was vociferous. It was hateful. It was toxic. It was brilliant.
Yeah,
It was
it's unbelievable.
As a football player,
Yeah.
it was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And do you know what was really good? And it just happened naturally that there was so much respect between each players.
Yeah.
There was so much respect. You know, they amazing players. You know, Noel, Big Winky, Spike. Back then, David Armour was up top as well, and all that sort of stuff. John Easton was playing. Tommy McDonald was playing, and there was respect between the players, because the players know the pressure of playing for each club.
Yeah.
And you know, so that hit me. That I went like that, you know, because we beat. You know, we beat, fast forward a couple of seasons, we beat Linfield 4-2 in a Gold Cup final, at Windsor, and we're 4-0 up. And Johnny, it could have been 6 or 7.
Yeah.
It could have been 6 or 7, right? And we conceded 2 late goals, and everybody Glentoran that night was just amazing. We had a brilliant night. And Noel Bailey shook every Glentoran player's hand at the end of the game, and Stephen Beattie as well. And they showed class.
Yeah.
Right? And that was something that struck me as well, to go, I don't think I could have done that.
Yeah.
You know,
fair play to him.
Aye, mate,
yeah.
It was just a touch of class, and so things like that you hit. But yeah, the Glentoran Linfield rivalry back then, and again, if I rewind a wee bit, see my first week, big Leaper Paul Lehmans took me to his house, and he's put on a video, right? And the video was, Glentoran Linfield players fighting each other on the pitch. Just McMurray gets sent off. I don't think the Rory gets sent off as well. So this was the season before, right? And this is on like UTV, right? And then it goes straight to Cliftonville and Crusaders, and big Kirk Hunter comes on the pitch for Crusaders, comes on the pitch, smacks Damien Davey, right? Tim McCann, Cliftonville, has jumped in the back at Big Winky, right? And Big Kirk, right? And I'm like, Jesus, this is what I've signed. This is what I've signed up to, right? So my first Linfield game was special. It was 1 each. But you know, and every Linfield game after that was, especially when you won. And I was very lucky, Johnny, and fortunate that there wasn't many times that you know I lost to Linfield.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're one of the very few.
Myself and my good pal Joel Taggart. Joel done a thing years ago. It was myself and Big Davey and Liam Beckett. And, you know, it was nice because Big Davey was like, my team talks against you was to stop you playing. We stop you playing. Mm-hmm. We won the game. And that's an honour to be, you know, to say things like that. So, yeah, they were special time. But signing a 4-year contract, Johnny, gave us security. I'd never had security in my life. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? You know,
2 years.
Biggest contract I ever had was 2 years.
Yeah.
So 4 years enabled us to get a house. And we moved to Newton Ards, and Eleanor thought it was the end of the world, Johnny. She's an East Belfast girl. And I'm like, Eleanor, it's 7 miles down the road, love. For fuck's sake.
That's the bad thing for us people. We think
Northern Ireland,
anywhere over 15 minutes is...
Yes, mate.
You might as well go to Dublin.
End of the world. So and to be honest with you, at that point, we couldn't afford the house that we wanted in East Belfast. Mm-hmm. You know, so it was Newton Ards, and Georgia was born in 2001. And Eleanor, she wanted to be closer to her daddy, and Eleanor's mummy had died the year before I met her in 98, and she wanted to be closer, so you know we moved to East Belfast, and it was brilliant. And
did you ever think of moving back to Scotland? Whenever you settled here, you got the 2-year deal. Did you ever think at any stage you'd be like, I'd be going back?
Aye. After my first season, I thought I've done quite well. I think I could maybe get a wee move back. And also, obviously, you know, it never transpired. There was talk of Shells, wee Pat Fenlon, but that was never going to happen. You know, I was so happy at Glentoran. And see, to be honest, Johnny, I was on good money.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't on life-changing money. I was on good money, right? But I was so happy, mate.
But to say, there's something for players, because, and I've probably been more so open about this, is I chased money.
Mm.
And the grass is not always greener.
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with that either.
No,
I'm not going to criticise the player who chases money. No, because we've all got bills to pay,
100%.
right? And you know, you only get one crack at it, right? So, but I was a fiercely loyal person, and when somebody showed me love, I'm going to reciprocate that.
Yeah.
You know, the fans, you know, my teammates and what have you. So I can honestly say there was never a point where I honestly wanted to leave Glentoran and what have you.
Especially to go to somebody else in the league.
Could never, ever in my time at Glentoran imagine myself playing for another football club. Never.
Yeah.
And that was taken away from me, Johnny, because obviously my career was over at 26. You know, one of my biggest regrets is the fact that my career was over at that age. I should have played 500-600 games for Glentoran, in my opinion, you know. Because
you had 222 games.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
And then obviously managing was different, but
yeah, but I should have played. And then you go, well, if you never broke your legs, right, you would never have became the manager.
Yeah.
You know, so life has a habit of just, geez, what, you know, and
opportunities, doors open.
Yeah. But first and foremost, you always want to be a football player.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be a manager. You don't. You want to be a football player. You want to be on that pitch. You want to be creating something. You want to be scoring a goal. And you know, you
don't feel that experience.
No, you know new, pal. Do you know what I mean? I heard you text me say you were back doing pre-season training and all that sort of stuff. The adulation you get as an individual scoring a goal, no matter the level,
yeah,
it's an amazing feeling.
You can't replicate it either.
You can't.
No, especially when there's people depending on their happiness.
Absolutely,
and you give it to them.
Absolutely. So, 26, that's all over for me.
Yeah, all
over. You know, and when you look at now, I wasn't even in my peak. I should have.
Yeah.
I should have been getting better and better and better. So that's the biggest regret that.
Well, it can't really be a regret from you, and the way I want to word this is, the last 18 months for me has been quite strange, because you, as you know, you're so used to doing something. You were full time, I was full time. You're getting in this situation where most of your days are mapped out. You know, when you wake up in the morning, I'm getting my breakfast, I'm going to do this, and you go home.
Yeah,
like routine, clockwork.
Mm-hmm.
To have that taken away from you when it's not your fault, and not be able to hang up the boots whenever you want, is something totally different.
Yeah, it was really tough, because now the way it worked as well, Johnny, I'd signed a new 4-year contract. So I signed a 2-year, a 4-year, and then another 4-year. There's not many players in Irish League football.
There's not many people get a 4-year contract.
No.
Never mind.
No.
So,
and
were you giving any of this money back to Coiler?
Hey, it's Bill from the Bill Simmons podcast. FIFA World Cup 26 fans, listen up. As the official beer sponsor of the FIFA World Cup 26, Michelob Ultra is giving away $1 million worth of FIFA World Cup 26 tickets and prizes. Enter now at MichelobUltra.com/superior access/FIFA World Cup 26. Michelob Ultra FIFA World Cup 26 superior access. No purchase necessary. Open U.S. residents 21 plus. Begins on December 1st, 2025. Ends on July 31st, 2026. Multiple entry periods. Visit www.MichelobUltra.com/superior access/FIFA World Cup 26 for free entry deadlines, prizes, and details.
This episode is brought to you by Google Health. Stop chasing someone else's definition of health. What matters is what's healthy for you. Google Health offers a new kind of coach built with Gemini for effortless tracking, sleep insights, and holistic coaching tailored to you. Visit googlestore.com to learn more and start a new relationship with your health. Requires Google account, Google Health app, internet, and Google Health premium subscription. Features subject to change. Availability and results vary. Not intended for medical purposes. Works independently of Gemini apps. Check responses for accuracy.
The gaffer was gone 2 years into my second 4-year deal. and Big Windy was the manager.
Okay.
And, you know, I remember, because I'd done my rehab with the late, great George McGill, who's sadly no longer with us. And so the initial leg break was down at Ards. And it was a bad one. It was a bad one because when I go to the hospital and they showed me the x-ray, you know, your tib, and the gap was that size.
So it's completely separated.
Aye.
So you were technically taller.
I don't know about that. Fuck's sake.
One side, just tilted, just leaning. Like, why am I leaning there?
I knew, pal. I knew there and then. I don't know if I'll ever kick another ball again, because that has to grow back together. That has to knit back together. The gap wasn't a hairline fracture.
Yeah.
The gap was that. And I remember saying to the consultant, "This is my livelihood," and he said to me, "We don't look at you as an NFL player, an NBA player. You're going to have arthritis."
Yeah.
And I went, "Yeah, arthritis. Put as many rods and screws in me as possible, right?"
Yeah.
Never done that. So I was out for 9 months. I was in plaster cast up to there for the first 3 months. And then they put me on the smaller plaster cast. Never operated. Naturally.
So they thought the best course of action was to
natural heal.
let that heal together.
Yeah. Come back and it was nothing. It was training and Tommy McAllion. And all I've done is kind of put one around the corner. Training this is. And I've hit Tommy's knee right on the break when it's went. Out for another 6-7 months.
So see the initial leg break.
Yeah.
You're at Ards.
Yeah.
How does it happen? Is it a tackle?
It was a bad one. So.
And this is me trying to put. I just don't know.
No, I
I'm
don't.
not trying to point out that did somebody empty or do this. I don't know.
Listen, I don't bear grudges because listen, what's happened in my life for the last 5-6 years. You know, life's too short. But you know, the boy who broke my leg was Dan Fitzgerald, who used to play with us.
Okay.
You know, who used to be at Rangers with Nicky and would stay at our house and what have you. He came to the Glens. It never worked for him. And it was his first game against Glentoran since signing for Ards, and the wee man was he was overhyped, and you know,
trying to prove a point.
Yeah, and I've tried to, you know, again, kind of swing up the line. He's just went right through, you know. And I've kicked, my leg's gone like that, and it was the bladed boots. Remember the bladed boots?
I remember, yeah. The old Predators near enough, them sort of.
And it was the worst pain I've ever had in my life. Morphine on the pitch straight away. You know, it was bad. So that's how, and I kind of knew a couple of weeks after, I'm going to struggle to come back.
Yeah.
Because I'll just remember that x-ray. So then you fast forward that 6 months, 9 months, whatever, I was out, and it was innocuous. We told me nothing at all to do with him, do you know what I mean? Complete freak accident. And I'm out again for another 6 months. And then here's the crazy thing. So I'm working back again with George McGill, doing my rehab and what have you. And we plays Derry City for Sean Harden's testimonial. And I remember, maybe she would tell us, but I will tell it. So Sean was married to one of Mark McGuinness's daughters, right? So this is the first time Glentoran's played at the Brandyville.
Okay.
And Jesus, man, right? Forever. Do you know what I mean, right? Like, when we arrived in the outskirts, so the police picked us up at Drummer and escort in. And it was like, so... It was brilliant as well, by the way.
Yeah, the atmosphere must have been
electric. It was electric, right? And so, warm up all the rest of it, big crowd, Glentoran fans there, police has got them in, do you know what I mean? Police everywhere, all that sort of stuff. And it was Sean's testimonial, and both players are lined up. And so the majority of us, like, good East Belfast boys there, do you know what I mean, right? And next minute, Martin McGuinness is walking up, and we're going... Right. Like, see if he puts our horn out, just because where we're from, right? See if he goes to shake our horn, right? But to be fair to him, he knew I can't put the Glentoran players in that situation.
Yes, 100%,
right?
yeah.
But I can honestly say we were shiting ourselves with that 30 seconds he was walking up there, right? Because
has he just done it as a bit of crack?
Aye, do you know what I mean, right? And you're like, oh my God, man, they're like controversy that would, do you know what I mean, right? And also we would have get
big time, from the other side.
I've not been.
You would have had the refuse.
16, I couldn't have done that as such, right? But you know, so it was funny because he laughed because he just knew.
Yeah.
He knew, right? I said, I was going to put you on a situation there.
Yeah, wait until you get back to East.
Aye, yeah.
Did you win?
We won 1-0. No. Tell a lie. I don't honestly remember the score. I don't remember the score. I was playing against Big Cairn Martin, who manages at Glens Diamond. But Johnny, I played really well. Really, really well. We're on the way back, the gaffer's called me down and he says, you're starting Saturday. And I remember saying to myself, we're playing the Blues at Windsor in 2 weeks in the League Cup final. So we plays Glenavon that Saturday. And again, it was totally innocuous. And do you know what? It's 3 Glentoran players that broke my leg.
Maybe you just weren't a good teammate.
I know. Maybe you get them on here. Put your side.
Why did you do it?
Darren, the first one. The second one, complete accident. Obviously, Tommy McCallion in training, and the third one was Connor Walsh. Used to play with us, but he was a great boy, brilliant boy. He was upset when he knew my leg. But again, I've kind of went, checked, throw in, up a line.
Yeah.
Connor's just went like that. My foot's fall through, right on the brake. And I know then, career's over.
And is it just like flop time? Does it just...
Yeah. And the players were upset.
I'm sure.
Big Chris Walker was crying and all that sort of stuff. This is on the pitch. Like 17.
It's kind of hard for them to go through the same thing that like they've seen you come back. And there's nothing worse knowing that somebody's been out for that long, got back, done it again, got back again. It's a lonely place too, like.
Really lonely. Eleanor was amazing, and at that stage with Jessica's born, and so she's 2, Georgia's 4 or 5, and
also nothing worse than not being able to run after the kids, sofa bound like in your ones.
Yeah,
I can't even be at that here, never mind.
Yeah, but but she was, Eleanor was amazing, but it was tough, pal. And then I had 2 or 3 years left my contract, full time. And this is where the football club was amazing to me.
Yeah.
And so was the supporters clubs. There was so many supporters clubs who ran nights for me. And, like, a lot of money, do you know what I mean? And amazing. And then it was a situation, I remember having to tell Big Windy was a manager. The consultant told me, you retire tomorrow or you're going to end up a cripple.
Yeah. You
try and play again. And the crazy thing was, see, after the third one, they operated. They put a titanium rod in my leg.
Which would have solved problems at the start, like?
Yes. So 6 screws at the bottom, 6 screws, and it's full line for my tib. And also, see, when I was going in for the op, I'm convinced of this, by the way. Convinced, right? When you go for the op and they'll give you that jag and 2, 3, 4, right?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there was a boy who wrote on the rod, Linfield FC. I'm telling you. I swear to God. I remember this.
Shut up.
I'm telling you, I remember this. There's somebody up a Shango or somewhere, a Linfield fan, who's got that. That was me. I swear. I remember it. But I had to tell Big Windy, and he was amazing. The football club was amazing. And then it was him that introduced me to the reserves to help with George Bowden, who was the manager, and Johnny Jemison. And, so gradually got involved with them. I was going through, I'd done my B licence. I'd done my B licence when I was a player.
Yeah.
Alfie Wiley and that, they were brilliant with me. And I'd done my B licence when I was young. I was like 22, 23. So the club then put me through my A licence, which is amazing. Again, I never paid for it. The club put me through my pro licence. I never paid for it. So like, amazing. But that all accumulated to then when the late great Big Alan McDonald arrived at the Oval, he brought me on board with George Neal, You know, so it was then that, you know, you're like, right, okay, is there an opportunity to, you know, to go into this coaching setup and all that? And if I'm being honest with you, Johnny, I never overly enjoyed the coaching.
Right.
You know, Big Pete was my when I became manager was my assistant, and he was brilliant on the pitch. I liked more the, you know, the dealing with the players and what have you. But yeah, when Big Alan, God rest his soul, when he came to the football club and he won the league in the first season. Was it his first season? I can't remember, but he won his league, and with some smashing players. And as a first team coach, then the players used to come to me. Do you know what I mean? So Hammy, who sat here, do you know what I mean? Yeah, I'm sure Hammy's told the stories, and you know, Dean Fitzgerald, Kyle O'Neill, Shane McCabe, Big Labour, Nicky, Elliot. Oh, they were good players. Good players. Great boys as well. Great boys. And even though they were on good dough, you know, some of them did genuinely care about the football club.
Yeah.
You know, the Nickies and Leap of this world, you know, just the red, green and black, cut them open. You know, but I can honestly say, you know, like, I could never fault the likes of Shane, who went, and Hammy and Kyle and all that. You know, they loved playing for Glentoran. Loved playing for Glentoran because they saw the good times. See, when you do well for this football club, you're a hero.
Yeah.
You're a hero, you know, and so well treated. But yeah, so obviously I was then into the setup with Big Al, and I loved that because I learned so much, seen so much. When Big Al got the job, I thought, brilliant. Here's this big hard man, played in the English Premier League. You know what I mean? Played against real players, the Shearers of this world. You know what I mean? Played against top draw players, and he was the most beautiful, humble human being you've ever came across in your life. He was so gentle. It was just the complete opposite, Johnny, of what I thought.
No, you were expecting him to be.
You know, because some of that squad did need a good kick in the bollocks.
Yeah.
Right? And, you know what I mean? And I thought, big man, it's going to go to any crap.
Aye. You
Cause
need
the
the
reason Alan got the job in the first place was because players weren't performing.
Yeah.
As any manager, do you know what I mean? Right? But these players are better than this. And but he was a brilliant guy. He's
just too nice.
Was too nice. I remember one story. I remember one time he says, "Scott, I'm going to drop Gary the Hammy." And I went, "Right, no worries." He said, will you come in with me? And I'm telling him, "No worries." So Hammy knew it's you know as a football player it was coming, right?
Why am I getting the call?
And by the way, you know, I will say this as well, one of my huge regrets was I never get a chance to play with him.
Who, Gary?
Aye. I never get a chance to play with him. And see if I had a chance to play with him, he doesn't go every minute. But so he comes in, Hammy, and can't stand up, right? But he's put his slat against the door, right? He knows what's coming, and he starts to kind of moan. But Big Al was just sort of sitting there, and I'm like, Hammy, know what it is? Get the you're on the bench, off, right? And he goes out, right? And I'm like to the big man. I know. But I understand as well that he's probably deliberated that for 48 hours.
Yeah, he's stressing.
That's my best player.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I kind of lose
and
him.
He knows probably the attitude that Gary will have. He'll be like, I'm not, like, I know. Like, it's going to be difficult to drop your number one.
Yeah,
you know
yeah. So say I was beat it, move. And, you know, so I was learning as well as, you know, how...
Was he kind of wanting you to do that side, and then he does...
Aye, there was maybe
the arm on the shoulder, and you can be my...
He did something, right, which he had his talk. This is before the games, and he allowed George to talk, then allowed me to talk, right? And it should have been him, and that's it.
Yeah. Too many voices too.
Too many voices.
Too many people He's thrown it out then by the time he gets it.
Now, if there's some of my ex-teammates and people here that are coached and managed sort of thing, you know, you've got confidence in yourself that you can get a team up motivated to go out on that pitch and bust those down and that sort of stuff. So I was sort of that person who would try and give that rousing speech and what have you. But that came naturally to me, pal. Do you know what I mean? That's the Glasgow boy in me and you know, the way I was brought up and that fire in your belly. I didn't have to work at that. That all came naturally.
Yeah.
And I was always going to call it as it is. So if somebody's had a stinker...
You're being told.
You're being told.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And if you can't handle that, that's not my fault. Do you know what I mean? And there's all times that you need to put your arms around players and all that. But I'll go back to, you know, when we're talking off air, you know, the biggest thing to being a successful manager is experience. I was Glentoran's youngest ever manager. I was 31 years of age. You know, that's young. And with that came the enormous responsibility that the club is in dire straits. Financially, the football club is in dire
the club's straits. Completely on its knees at this stage.
Yes.
Now, when you get offered the job, did you know this?
Had an inkling, but not how bad it was.
Smoke and mirrors sort of job?
Yeah. I remember, you know, I remember...
But also, like, I look at this, as much as I say, like, that's a shit place for the club to put you in, considering what you've done for the club and how they've looked after you and stuff, to go, right, now you're going to be the manager and we're going to hold this against you. But from a personal perspective, no one can ever say no to that. Do you know what I mean?
Don't care who you are.
No one's saying no to it. That's the same, and I said this about Jim Irvine very recently. Jim became the manager of Ballymena. He was playing a Carrick. Somebody offers Jim a job at good Ballymena. Yeah. Somebody offered me a job whenever I was playing. I had a went. Maybe I'm dipping the shoulder here.
Because it will never happen again.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you don't take it, you live the rest of your life regretting it.
Yeah. Or you have to start way down here.
Yeah.
Like everybody else. And it's a golden ticket.
Absolutely, pal. Absolutely. So you know, for me, Big Alan's last game was Dungannon Swifts at Dungannon. It was disgraceful what he had to go through.
That day?
Aye.
From players?
Glentoran supporters.
Okay.
Disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. Because Dungannon is you're that close to the pitch.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're at the wall near enough, and then tunnel.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible. And I'm shouting back at the Glentoran fans, you know, calling them for all sorts. It was disgusting. It was. And Dungannon's changing rooms were getting done up at that time. So we're in porter cabins. And I says to the big man, Al, this. You do not need this in your life, pal.
Yeah.
Now, I wasn't saying that I get the job or somebody else. I was seeing a big man who was broken.
Yeah.
We could beat the Coleraine 6-0, like 2 weeks before that. Rory Patterson scored 4 goals.
I remember.
And crazy because Rory was coming to us.
Yeah.
You know, if Rory's sitting here just now, you know, I did all that myself and Aubrey, got Rory in the door, and it kind of made me look a wee bit bad, pal, as in I'd done all this work with him. Well, all this work. I went to see him. He said, listen, come here, be a fucking legend. All right, you're a player. Yes, you've got your issues, but you come to Glentoran and the rest of it. And he scores 4 against Crusaders on the Saturday, right? It comes out, so this is January, right, after signing a pre-contract with Glentoran. I signed Glentoran because of Scott Young. And I remember we were in the change room after the game. And I went, fuck, I wish you never said that, because the whole team's watching. The Big Al's watching it as well. Yeah. You should be saying, I'm coming to Glentoran because, you know, I want to play for Al McDonald, I want to play for these supporters, I want to play for this massive football club. And so I was like, a couple of weeks later, he scores 4 goals against us. Do you know what I mean? Right? And Glentoran do not get beat 6-0 at the Oval. Doesn't happen, right? And the Glentoran fans were outside. The police was called. He's fucking telling his wife and his child, you know, listening to this on the radio or something, or, you know what I mean? It's terrible. And the big man, what do you call it? He took some time out on the advice of his doctor, and George Neal and myself took the team against Glenavon. A few nights later, we won 1-0. But you knew that the next bad result, the fans are going to turn.
Again. Yeah.
And it happened against Dungannon. And when we're on the bus going back, and we always dropped Big Al off at the Lisburn roundabout, and his car was parked up in the car park. and he says to me, "What word we?" That's on the boss, and he says, "I'm recommending you for the job." He says, "The Glen men love you. They'll give you time, son." Right? I say, "So I'm going to," and I'm like, "No chance, big man." as in, this isn't it.
It's not what you want.
You go,
Yes.
I go, right? Again, I'll go back to loyalty and all that sort of stuff. And he says, no. He says, "Listen, your career ended, quickly. You can maybe do something good here, blah, blah, blah." And so it was so weird. Johnny, I went home to Eleanor. And I was like, "I don't want you taking Glentoran job." Because so Eleanor was the bookkeeper in the Westbourne Glentoran Supporters Club in Newton Road.
Okay.
Right? So she heard everything, what I mean? Fans and people bringing in kegs and all that sort of stuff, and couldn't escape it. But I was also like, well, it's an opportunity for myself. And sorry, I've missed something out which is really important. When my career was over, there was an amazing man called Tom Neal, who was a Glentoran director.
Okay.
Right? And Tom gave me a job.
Right.
So it was this really important part of my life, because I was a football player until I was 26, basically. I didn't know what real work was, Johnny. Do you know
9 to
what I mean?
5.
Yeah, mate, right. And Tom offered me a job. He and his business partner, Peter Blair, they owned a company called Blair Neal Limited, which was window fabrication and conservatories and what have you. And it got my contract was coming up, so anyway, he got me the job. But at that stage, I'm doing the coaching at the Glens as well, and so we're getting by. We're getting by. And I'm still with Blair Neal when this is going on.
Okay.
Right? Big Al's resigned, and I then gets offered the job, and I worked with the maddest bunch of people in Blair Neal. They were the most mental, but they were brilliant as well. Do you know what I mean? So see, when things were bad, man, they had the Sunday World and all that up. Do you know what I mean? Glentoran beat my sort of stuff right on the was not that. So the banter was, and again, it kept you grounded. It kept you fine me. But I was still working at Blair Neal whilst I got the Glentoran job.
And was that something that you wanted to part ways with, to be like, or did you think, I just want to continue working?
Want to continue working. They were amazing with me. Tom's son-in-law, Big Paul Thompson, was brilliant with me as well, and kind of starting a wee bit. And the guys ran from like 7:30 in the morning. I start at 9.
Yeah.
And they'd allow me to leave early, especially if it was a Tuesday night game. I could leave about 2:00, and they were Glen men. They were amazing with me. The majority of the workers were Glentoran guys. Factory was based on in Newton Ards, but they were brilliant with me. But yeah, when I got the job, it was very, very early on to go run the ship, and
I find it, sorry to jump in here and I'm interrupting you, but I find it very strange that for them, as they own that business, they employ you.
Yeah. Have
you working for them and have that close relationship.
Yeah.
To not give you a heads up that you're about to take on a job.
Well, Tom was he was a director, but I think by that stage he wasn't a director, right?
His name's on the title, but he just kind of...
Yeah, and he was a gentleman, just an amazing guy, who sadly is no longer with us. But he was looking after somebody that he cared about.
Yeah, I get you.
Do you know what I mean? So I have a great friend called Davy Stewart, and I think that's where the whole relationship comes from. And I was in Davy's one night. I think it was one of his kids' birthdays and that, and Tom was there, and Tom offered me a job. It's the first time I ever met Tom. So again, that Glentoran family connection thing. Yeah. Right? And
look after one of our own.
Aye. Yeah. Yes, pal. Yeah. So yeah, but like when I get the job 2 or 3 weeks later, we beat Coleraine in penalties in the League Cup final. And it was surreal, as in I shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
It's Big Al's team. Big Al should be here. Big man's probably sitting in the house just now and going like that. Should have held out. What's the you could have played like that every fucking Saturday, that sort of thing, you know what I mean?
The mad thing is too, and we've seen it for years, that people usually get a bounce. There's usually a little uplift, or there's usually something.
Yep.
Did you see at the time, and this isn't to try and criticise Big Al for what he's done, but the players had kind of just separated themselves? Because you can kind of tell by the atmosphere, the ambience in the change room, sometimes people are for you, sometimes aren't, and it gets to the stage where the manager has to know the players just aren't doing it.
I don't think they'd say. I think some thought they were better than what they were.
Okay.
You know, I mean, and again, listen, I'm not going to hide behind doors. You know, when you sign for Glentoran, you're expected to win. Yeah. End of. What's happened the last 10, 15 years is a disgrace.
Mm-hmm.
A disgrace, right? You know, we're Glentoran Football Club, and you're expected to win trophies. You will be judged how good a player you are, how many trophies you've got. Because that then tells everybody, no, he is a player.
Yeah.
Because look what he's won, right? So at Glentoran, it's all about trophies. People can come to the football club and, he was a smashing player for Glentoran, he was this, he was that. What was he? How many championships has he got? How many Irish Cups he's got? That's how I was judged.
Yeah.
It was reamed into me by Johnny Jameson, the Billy Caskies, the Jimmy Clearys. This football club is all about trophies. And you have to win. You have to win. So there was players at that point who, you know, by the way, on astronomical money at that point.
Well, and I said this about Gary Hamilton at the time whenever he spoke. The first memory I have of Irish League football is reading the back of a newspaper, and it was Gary Hamilton, and it was Glentoran are paying £1,000 a week for Gary Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, at that stage I think I was 11, maybe 10, and I was like, one, what's £1,000 and what's the Irish League? I was like, that's mental.
Yeah.
And I can remember seeing it because he had a shaved head.
Yeah.
He never had the locks that he has now, and I'm like, that's insane.
I know.
And I was like,
and by the way, he was worth every penny.
well, this is the other side of it now. If you could guarantee somebody like Gary now and paying him £1,000 a week, it's a bargain.
So there is not a player in Irish League football playing today who could lace his boots.
Yeah.
And I say that with the greatest respect. And if an Irish League football player is watching this and gone, right, go and watch some clips.
Yeah.
Gary Hamilton could play. Gary Hamilton had so much talent, so much ability. And yeah, he was on good dough at Glentoran. But you don't blame the player for getting the deal that they get.
No.
Right? The football club at that point took that punt to offer the wages that they were offering. And it was, basically, I think, to try and retain a title.
Yeah.
Which Glentoran has done once, so we've never done it, So they tried to do that and it failed. And, the shit hit the fan. And it became apparent. So we won the League Cup a couple of weeks after Big Al. Great, brilliant, blah, blah, blah. And then I think the story broke. Was it that same season? It was Joe Taggart who broke the story to the BBC, and Joe's a personal friend. And I was like,
did you have the job?
No, it's going to come out. Glentoran owes HMRC.
Okay.
Crazy money. And it broke on a Saturday morning, and we played Cuffenville that day. We could beat 1-0 with Cuffenville. We get battered 1-0 with Cuffenville. Cuffenville was a good side, but still, shouldn't be happening, right?
Yeah.
And there's ways to get beat, as you know. And that day, I went into the changing room, grabbed my bag, went to my motor, and drove straight away. Driving past Glentoran fans, they're probably going, there's a manager, look, he's good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? I was that disgusted. And I won't say who the DUP representative was, but I got a chap at my door at 6:30 on Saturday. I've just arrived back at the house, so stayed about 10 minutes drive from the Oval. And son, tell me how bad it is. And I told him everything. And he contacted Peter Robinson right there and then. And a meeting was set up for the Tuesday for Glentoran people to go and sit with Peter Robinson and this other DUP member.
Because the gates were locked near enough, weren't they? It was like, yeah.
It's horrendous. And then there was there was different organisations. There was Spirit of 41, Simon Kitchen, a few others that raising money and blah blah blah, and they raised money. But there was, I think I was told at one point that the club was like, there's a 1.8 million debt. I don't know exactly if that was the case, or 1 point something, right? But it was big, Johnny. It was.
Can I ask you, and it's probably a very personal question here, but in terms of the club, what would the playing budget have been at that stage for Glentoran?
Ginormous. So,
in relative speaking to today's day and age,
well, it's probably not going to look upon as ginormous then, but we're talking about 2010, 2011. Her playing budget was about $500,000.
and you're 1.8 in debt.
It's crazy.
So see, whenever you go in,
see one of my first training sessions.
well, this is what I say. See, whenever you go in and you get handed the doc, I'd be like, "This is everybody's contracts." Where you going? He's not.
Are all batteries the same? That's like asking if all soccer players are the same. Take Messi, the most decorated player ever. Is there any other player who has achieved that? No, just him. Now take Duracell. Is there any other battery with power boost ingredients inside? No, just Duracell. Remember, goats only trust goats because they're built different. And Messi only trusts Duracell.
Hi, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. Are you looking for a beach read this summer? May I suggest your big wireless bill? It's got suspense, mystery, a slightly flat, emotional arc, and a shocking twist where you realize you've been overpaying the entire time. Fortunately, though, Mint's story is better. Every plan, $15 a month, even unlimited. That's it. Happy ending, 0 tears.
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
yeah.
For some people.
Again, no, I never, ever blame the player.
No, but the club did.
I remember then one of your first training sessions were at Blanchflower, myself and Pete and Tim. And it was like, Elliot and goalkeeper at the side, 2 centre-halves, 2 full-backs, 2 strikers alternating, 2 wingers, 2 full-backs overlapping, centre midfielders. And all it was halfway line, set to the centre midfielder goes, checks, play it in, stops it, and you go ping.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Full-back overlap, right?
Put it in the box here.
Anyway, these boys are hitting the corner flag, hitting the floodlights. I'm like,
what are we paying for?
so eventually the boys got it gone, right? But I'm like, Pete, he's on 36,000 a year. He's on 40,000 a year. He's on 41. He's on 28. That was the conversation.
Yeah, and I'm only saying this now because I would be thinking the same way. Because I'd be like, "The f am I getting for? What are you getting for what you're paying?"
Yeah.
And obviously it's nothing to do with you.
Yeah,
you haven't bought anybody in. This is what you've been left with. You've inherited this debt.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah. So it was.
Was it gut wrenching for you to be like?
All I wanted was the opportunity that every Glentoran manager before my time had, was the opportunity to build your own team.
Because you're a scapegoat in this.
That's all I wanted. I had League of Ireland players all set up.
Yeah.
All set up. And I met with them. They were really excited about coming to the football club, and then
you had to go to a provincial league.
It was pipe dreams, mate. Yeah, that was it. It wasn't like, it was players had to take astronomical wage cuts, or players who were out of contract had to go.
Yeah.
So the hardest thing I ever had to do today at Glentoran was tell Paul Lehman there's no contract.
So this is one of the biggest decisions in the history of Glentoran.
100%.
And you're stuck with this.
And we're left to make a decision over, do we keep Colin Nixon or do we keep Paul Lehman? That's the ridiculous scenario that we faced as a football club. Horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. And the reason that we kept Nicky was because Nicky was guaranteeing like eight goals a season as a fullback, centre/centre-half.
Yeah.
That's not fair on Paul. Ridiculous what it is. So when people talk about Glentoran legends, right? Colin Nixon and Paul Lehman are Glentoran legends.
Mm-hmm.
I was a good Glentoran player, and other players that I played with were good Glentoran players and well thought of by the football club and all that sort of stuff. I don't put myself in that bracket. They are in that bracket. They were local boys, even though Nicky was Newton Ards, but they were boys who gave it all for their... They were born in Mersey Street.
Yeah.
Stones throw away, right? But there's also situations in life that you have to do things that you don't want to do. And this was one of them. And listen, we got on amazing now, and he's just, Paul, as you know, mate, is just one of life's great guys. He's a gentleman. He just carries himself so well. But that broke my heart. If Eleanor was still alive to tell you, like, I was in tears about that situation. You know, really, really, really hurt. And I remember saying to like Aubrey, you know, the situation that I've been put in by this football club, this is absolutely disgraceful. And then there's another side that you have to go like that early doors. But wait a minute, see if I can't make these decisions, then I can't do this job. Yeah. Right. So that the Glasgow committing me, you know, that you have to be this tough cookie, and
did you find it hard going as a player to a coach to a manager, knowing that everybody who you near enough and heard that you played with,
they were my pals as well?
That's what I'm saying. So it's a really
I remember.
strange...
So like they'll tell you, Hammy and Nicky and Leaper and Elliot and all the rest of the boys will tell you. So you know, when I got the job, I took the boys upstairs at the Oval and sat them all down and spoke to them. And I told them, I need to talk to you in a way that I've never spoken to you before. Yeah. You know, I'm now the manager of the football club here, and, you know, what I want in the past, and shine yourself.
I'm sure.
Because you've never been in that environment before. Mm-hmm. And they're looking at you go,
what's he doing here?
That's Scotty. Do you know what I mean? Like, right? And I had to be a hard, ruthless CUNT at times, which I didn't always want to be. But it was horrendous. So it was like, you know, players who are on massive wages, we need to get them out of the football club. This guy's got a 3-year contract left. This guy's got 2 years left. What the hell? Do you know what I mean? And it was so difficult. And it was like, you know, for talk's sake, Hammy. You know, Hammy was the highest paid player. We need to get him off a wage bill.
He's number one target now.
Who get him off a wage bill? Right? Now, to be fair to him, his attitude wasn't good in the pre-season. His attitude wasn't good, you know? And, you know, could I have handled things a bit better? Possibly. But I watched him. Big Pete took a session. And pre-season, you know, some of the reserves and youth team are maybe there as well. Johnny, you know, there's maybe like 25 players, and Big Pete's chatting. Hammy was sitting in a ball facing that way. It's Big Pete's talk. And I says, man, you'll never kick another ball for this football club. Get yourself a club. And he thought that maybe I was, you know, kidding on. I says, get your stuff from football. And did I want to do that? No. No in a million years. Because he's the best player in the league, right? But this club's in the shit, and he is too big a character in that dressing room, and I couldn't have him going, this is a lot of shite, I'm going to get myself a club. Whatever, I'm not saying he was going to say that, right?
No.
But you had so many of the younger ones looked up to him, and he was...
Did you also see that, like, from a player's perspective, I get where you're coming from, what he can offer those kids. He's God. Gaz is the best thing, sliced bread. Yeah. From a managerial perspective, the way I'm looking at that is that also a hit to be like, I'll set an example here. If I can do this, that pretty much toes everybody in line to go, nobody's safe. Yeah. And I'm not here to about it.
Well, I think, you know, again, like, you know, players, the game of football is all about opinions. But until you're in that situation where you have been told in black and white, here's where we are financially, this football club could go to the wall. Yeah. And that was the reality, right? And unless we make these changes, unless we're seen by HMRC to be trying to make these cost savings for the rest of it. Yes, right? So, no, did I want to... I brought him back. Do you know what I mean? Unbeknown to me, he went to Glentoran and like we were contributing like 3/4 of his wage. So Harry's sitting there with a fag going, but again, that was not to do with me. It was if I knew I was going to get the Gary Hamilton Gary was worried about his wages.
Right. Rightly so.
Rightly so.
100%, yeah.
Rightly so. Do you know what I mean?
Back
players went weeks upon weeks upon weeks without their wages. Yeah. As did we, right? And it's not fair.
No.
Regardless if that is a Glenman or a journeyman or whatever, that is not fair. That should, the players and the manager and the coaching staff should never be put in that situation.
Especially if they're relying on that, as you say, mortgages, bills, kids.
100%. And there was a brave few relying on it. Do you know what I mean? Keith Gillespie was in that bracket as well. Do you know what I mean? The players there and the money that they were earning. I say good luck to them, but unfortunately it was a horrendously bad time for the football club financially. But this debt, as Ian Clark would have told you, this stemmed from way back.
Yeah, it did.
And built. So this wasn't just something that was in the latter years.
No, it's a time bomb.
Bomb.
Hit it at the explosion.
And so as a football person, and again, because all I'd ever known in my life was full-time football, I just wanted... So the gaffer was my director of football, because at that point I didn't have a pro licence, And I remember having real deep conversations with him and saying, this is horrendous. You've never had to deal with this.
Yeah.
I says, gaffer, you get a job at Linfield when you're 28 years of age, player manager, money wasn't an object. You go and sign, but your players there, like the Rafts and the Jordan Lops and all the rest of it, right? And you had characters, and do you know what I mean? The gaffer told me a story that the Glentoran team in the 80s, with the Jimmy Clearys and the Billy Caskets and all the rest of it, probably man to man, were probably a better side than his Linfield team that won the 9, 10, 11 titles. But their Linfield players knew how to get it over the line. But seeing a 1-half, it was really hard to beat the Glentoran players. So he wanted to create a situation at Glentoran that it's championships. Yes, we all love the Irish Cup, but he wanted league championships.
Yeah.
And, so I'd be going, well, look at this situation we're in. Look at these wages. We need to try and get these players off the wage bill. How is that going to happen? Because if that's me on a 2-year contract, I'm going, don't think so.
Aye, feed her up, yeah.
Yeah. But you're also tasked to try and motivate these players to get results on Saturday, which is really difficult when they've not been paid for 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean, pal?
Yeah.
They've got their wives and their girlfriends in their ear going, what's going on here? Shane left. And Shane came in on Tuesday, and Shane was doing long journeys.
He's from Manor, isn't he?
Right.
Yeah.
And he's doing long journeys, right?
Yeah.
And I was a stickler, you need to be training. Do you know what I mean? So Richard Clark as well, Castlederg, you've got better be training.
Yeah.
Right? So they'll probably call me for all sorts, Johnny, do you know what I mean?
What time train start?
Train start at 7 o'clock. Do you know what I mean? So I need to be training. And Shane came in one night and says, we're on the pitch at Cook Rugby Club, Shaw's Bridge. And he says, Gaffer, I've spoken to Big Ronnie. And see, as soon as he says that, I might get your bag and get the fuck. Go. They walked, and I walked. And the players are all looking, do you know what I mean? And by the way, I love the wee Shane McKibbin.
Yeah. No, sorry, he's lined up at some stage. He's another one I've been torturing for a long time.
I loved him because I saw bits myself.
He's a bull. The kid is a fucking bull.
I saw bits myself in him. And that hurt me, I get where he's come from as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I
think talk about security in your
I think he was getting married, not that sort of stuff, and what have you. And I loved him, and so that did hurt me, And I'm like, but I remember getting home that night and saying to Eleanor, like, I can't blame him.
Yeah. But
it's like, I'm trying to achieve something
You're
here.
trying to build it,
and we can't.
This
is
dropping
ridiculous.
off. Yeah.
And then it was like that. So this was pre-season. That season, we won the first 5 games of the season. Darryl Forday scores 5 at Distillery, the Tappy League, right? And our first defeat was against Cliftonville at Solitude. And I remember, because the gaffer had a wee go at me after the game, right? And we're 0 each with 5 minutes to go, and I've pushed Nicky up. We'd done it the previous Saturday against Glenavon, and we got a late goal to win 1-0, right? Kieran Martin's corner kick, Kieran Martin's got a header. Anyway, should have took a point. Do you know what I mean?
Aye. But you're young,
I'm
enthusiastic. We'll get the point. We'll go. Let's go.
We're going for this. It's Glentoran. Let's go. And we could beat 1-0. And the press. I'm interviewed after the game, and it's identity title hopes, like 7 games in, 1-6, lost 1, right? But very immaturely of me, I've went, listen, there's only one team going to win the league. That's the team with the biggest budget across the other side of the city. I says, be kidding on? They just see the papers next couple of days.
Everything. Rolled it out for a week.
Eleanor's gone, can you just keep your mouth shut?
Yeah, big time.
And I'm like, but again, that's the inexperience.
But the passion that comes out,
passion comes out, you know what I mean? You're like, and I'm totally firefighting, financial, the rest of it. These clowns here are talking about its identity title hopes. Fuck, if I win the league here and you gave me the fucking Man United job.
Big time. Guess we're close 6 months ago.
Yes. so that, but again, that doesn't matter. We're Glentoran and you're expected. So, it was great. It was good. It was bad. It was horrendous. It was tragic. And then, the day that I resigned, we got beat by Newington. That was just...
Was that the cup game?
Irish Cup.
Michael Doherty was he in that, no?
And I think Michael was in that, was he? I think
he was, from what I can remember.
So before the game, right, fell out with Nicky. Popped Nicky in. I says, Nicky, I'm resting, pal. I need you for Tuesday night, Ballymena. This is in my office. Nicky's with one. With one. Again, that's the pride in him. You know what I mean? I play every game at this football club. Do you know what I mean? Don't take me out, blah, blah, blah. And they nearly got to fisticuffs. But I'm like,
get out.
I'm resting you. I need you for Tuesday. Right, go. If we can't beat Newington, team hell, right? And by the way, that wasn't showing disrespect to Newington. Do you know what my team talk was that day? The Newington manager had said we're going to go to the Oval and get a result. And I cut it out of the paper. I went, there's what you're up against. There's the disrespect. An amateur league club has shown you boys. And it didn't beat us 1-0. Nicky has come in after the game and he has hammered every single player. Every single player. But at half time, we're getting beat 1-0. At half time, and again, so I don't know if you remember, Johnny, probably don't, pal, but back then the dugouts were on the far side of the pitch.
I remember, yeah.
So you had to walk across.
Right across, yeah.
Guy men are gone mental, mate. Do you know what I mean? You don't escape it. And I got, as you always do, I walked into the left hand side where the toilets are and sort of compose yourself before you're going to speak to the players and such. And I felt here, and it was palpitations,
right?
And I could hardly breathe. Dr. Kyle and George McGill have come in and grabbed me. And I saw the look in George's face. George was panicked. You're alright, son, you're alright. And couldn't even give a speech at half time. And then so the doc and George are saying, you're not going to, we need to get you to hospital. And I'm like, no, because it just look weak.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Right? I say, no, I'm going to. And jeez, keepers producing save after save, and you're like, I'm going to get put out of the cup.
Yeah.
And you need
to put it in.
Wish the didn't. But and what I took coming off the pitch was a couple of Glenmen spat on me.
Right?
Yeah.
Did it just, not to reiterate Alan McDonald, but was it like full circle moment as in, I watched this happen to this guy and now I'm in the same position?
No, because see at half time, all I could think about was Eleanor, my 2 girls.
Okay.
Glentoran wasn't even in my thoughts. All I could think about
was
Eleanor.
See, when we build up this, it's like an amalgamation of quite a long period of time. You've had to put up a severe stress and anxiety probably from playing games and trying to get results. How was your actual life? If you can picture.
Life was tough, as in I lived in East Belfast. Eleanor was a bookkeeper in the Westbourne Glentoran Supporters Club. Couldn't escape it. No matter where you went in the East, you went to Tesco's, you went to Forest Side, you went to Conswater. And by the way, I will say this, 99% of the Glentoran fans have always been amazing with me.
Yeah.
Those ones who are they when they see me, they don't have a go.
Yeah.
You know, but how you doing, Scott? You alright? You know what I mean? But I kind of know, like,
head down, walk on. Yeah.
Aye, right. 99% of the Glen men and women and children have been amazing with me. But I lived and breathed it. I had my part-time job, well, it was really a full-time job at Blair Neal. There was no escaping the world that you lived in. Everything was Glentoran. And all you wanted to do sometimes was tell the world, listen, here's the situation we're in. To try and downplay the ambitions that they have of winning titles and all that. So you couldn't come out and tell them.
No.
I remember one board member saying to me, Scott, you can't tell the fans how bad it is. They won't buy season tickets. And you're like, would they expect me to produce a winning team on the pitch?
Choice Hotels get you more of what you value. Here's a little tune to help you remember. Same drive, different day. Don't you wish you were getting away? Pack your bags and come on through. Texas, Ohio, Alaska, we're up there too. Comfort Inn, it's calling your name. Save on the stay. Oh, and free waffles are yours to claim. Well, I hope you like my little song. Book direct at choicehotels.com.
This summer, serve up the cookout classics, Kraft mayo and dressing. Toss green salads with delicious ranch dressing or zesty Italian. Serve smooth, craveably creamy potato salads with mayo. We all know it's not a cookout without Kraft.
But no offense, at this stage too, like I'm thinking like how stupid, naive are people to not think that the club's in dire shits. The gates were closed. Like, how do you still expect? It's just deludedness. Again, that's even a word. I don't even know. Fuck me. You know what I mean?
Deludedness. Yeah, yeah. It's. But that's the pressures of playing for Glentoran. Now I will say this: that pressure is nowhere near what it once was.
No, well it can't be. They've
Nowhere
gone for so long
near
without it.
What it once was. But back then, it was. I mean, don't forget, 2 years before it, we'd won the league on the Big Al.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it was, and it was even like so. We beat FK Renova in Europe, like a team of kids. You know, it was like young Marty Murray. He was 19 then. Scores the best goal he's ever scored in his life.
Yeah, I remember saying it. Yeah,
right. And
right hand side, and he just whacks into the hook on it.
Do you know what I mean, mate? Right, and it was like, and I remember saying to the chairman at the time, Terence Brannigan, more or less, right, can we get some money here?
Yeah.
No. It was pine decks. So there was never that, that opportunity to really go and, there was never the opportunity to go and build the team you wanted. Never. And that's the regret. That's the regret that I would love to sit here, Johnny, and go like, listen, Glentoran back to me at the Hill.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it, Johnny. I could not do it, but we won the League Cup. It was Big Al's team. We won the County Antrim against Linfield the following season. Go into Europe. We won in Europe. And all I wanted was the opportunity to build my own team, because I knew I would be able to bring football players to this club, and good players. I knew that. I knew I could. I knew, signing Rory Patterson and all that. I says, I know that I can bring players to this football club, and then it's up to me to create a winning team on the pitch. But never got that opportunity because the debt was horrendously bad. And you fast forward all these years, and now we've got an owner who's no short of a few bob, and
definitely not.
And so you just kind of wish you had those moments, but that's life. I look back at my time at Glentoran with love and affection, some real hard times as well. But the football club was good to me.
Yeah.
The fans were good to me. I only want to see the football club do well. And I was praying there that they won the cup final. And you know what? For the first time since I've retired playing and management, I thought we've genuinely got a hell of a chance here.
Yeah.
Hell of a chance. And unfortunately, we never. But yeah, so, love the football club. Will always love the football club.
We talk about those last couple of months that lead up to that night game, right? Psychologically, are you in the dumps?
Oh, aye. Yeah, down.
And like your whole demeanour's changed.
Yeah.
Like, are you a shadow, you know.
Shadow of the person that I was, you know. So like when I was a player, and the coaching, the first team coach and all that sort of stuff, the Glasgow was always in me. I was always having a laugh and a joke, and
Just a lad.
Aye, you know, and always a bit of banter and wind ups and what have you. And then, you know, you put into that role, and the magnitude of the role is big enough.
Mm-hmm.
But then the depth that you can't really tell anybody, this is how bad it is. And there was some amazing people at the football club. You know, like, you know, I think of some of the people who were in charge. Robbie Ralph, you know, Diamond the man, Stafford Reynolds, you know, back. There was Tom Dick as well. Tom wasn't everybody's cup of tea, but he was always good to me. And these people all cared about the football club, and some of these people put themselves into situations with the club, you know, where they lost it financially as well, trying to help. And a lot of people forget that, you know. A lot of people forget that. But there was special people at the club, special memories, and the thing is, if Glentoran's gone well, it's just a powerful movement. And really, Johnny, you probably really haven't really seen that.
Not like when you're talking about you playing at Glens, I was sliding out of the womb, like.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So you haven't seen that, you know, like.
I only know Glens to be very unsuccessful.
Yeah. You know, so like, it's, to me, it's unforgivable what's going on just now, and what has went on. You know, it's just, you know, and then if we look at the money they've got now, and they've got one Irish Cup to show for it. It's a disgrace.
Yeah.
A disgrace.
But then again, this is where I've spoke about it with numerous people. It's like Glentoran's not built, and what I mean by that is Glentoran has probably not the best structure in place for you to generate the people that you need. They put the money in top heavy.
Yeah.
Tried to buy whatever they needed to buy to win the league, and then obviously changed and chopped and whatever. And the other side of it then is you look at Lauren, who were in the championship, who built a football club.
Yeah.
Professionally.
Well, Kenny did come in, and,
do you know what I mean?
And Gareth.
And I would say equally, they've probably spent the same amount of money.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. You know, Glenn's just from the outside looking in, just that we go and sign whoever's out there, give them the biggest wages, and try and integrate into the football club and the team. And that's not the way it's worked. I honestly thought last season with Declan that we're heading in the right direction. I still feel that.
Yeah.
I still feel under Decky that we're heading in the right direction. But now you've got a situation where Coleraine are just making everybody sit up and take notice.
Yeah.
So Colerane's now at the table.
Yeah.
Linfield's always been at the table.
Who's then just outbudgeted.
Yeah.
You know.
What do you call it? Lamb done amazing, right? So when I played, there was us in Linfield and a few seasons Portadown with Gary Hamilton, Vinnie Arkins up front. Brilliant, right? Portadown won the league 1 year. Yeah, they did win the league 1 year with them. But now you've got a situation where Larne are top dogs, right? And then you're looking at Coleraine, Glentoran, Linfield, right? And you're like, this is hard.
Yeah, 100%.
This is hard, right? If the rumoured fees or rumoured money that Coleraine are splashing about, and you're like, this is so, like, it was unbelievably. I imagine, because I've seen some of the insides when I was a manager, I imagine it was unbelievably important for Glentoran to get into Europe this season.
Yeah.
If they never went into Europe this season, you kind of gone, just like, Ali has to dig even more into the pocket.
And the thing is too, he's came out and publicly backed them. That's probably one of the biggest standing moments that club will see for a long time.
I know.
Because he could have easily went, I've done and I've delivered and I've put
absolutely
for as many years, and now I'm over it.
Absolutely. And I think that's why there's a change of mindset at the football club with the fans. Is that we went from success to we're in the shit financially. Can we commit this? to barren years. Now, I will say, Eddie Patterson won Irish Cups at Glentoran was some feat.
Absolutely.
Some feat.
Gets actually looked over massively.
Does get some feat, right? But then, you know, Gary come in, Alan Cairnline come in, and you know, Ronnie come in, Big Smicker come in for a period of time and all the rest of it. And it was just the doldrums.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, no money, just, you know what I mean?
But it's also a severe turnover of management and staff.
Yeah.
And you're sitting going like, at what stage do you ever think that you're going to build for success?
Absolutely. Because when I signed for Glentoran 98, Tommy Cassidy, who was the previous manager, he had obviously got the sack and Roy Coyle come in, but he always said that he was 2 players short of a winning team. And when we won the league in my first season, he mentioned myself and somebody else. He said that was the 2 players that
you needed,
that I was missing.
Last
right?
piece. Yeah.
But, you know, Glentoran back then was just success. Now, Glentoran is still trying to get to the summit. They've got a big wage bill. They're full-time. They're in there every single day. They've got full-time staff. If that's my business...
You're demanding results.
And I'm not saying he's no, by the way.
No, he probably
right?
is.
But I want success.
Mm-hmm.
I want success. These fans here are backing us. I want success. And, you know, I think Glentoran's going to do well this season. I do, right? Do I think they'll win the league? Sitting here just now? No, I don't. So if I rewind to when I played, no matter we finished second, we lost the league by a point. That was a disaster.
Yeah.
So the dynamics have totally changed. The expectations have totally changed. And the football club needs to get back to the table where it only is a good season when we have won the Irish League.
Yeah.
That's defined as a good season. That might never happen. Because life is changing all around us, right? And, you know, powerhouses that in England that used to be, you know, Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United as such, then all of a sudden Chelsea came in with Abramovich's money, then Sheikh Mansour came in with Man City's money, right? Now everybody's got money.
Yeah.
This is happening in the Irish League. If somebody said to me 4 or 5 seasons ago, listen, a benefactor is going to come into Coleraine and spend big money to get Coleraine to where they want to be, which is winning league titles. How many titles Coleraine won? Exactly, right? So that has happened. Mm-hmm. Larne. If somebody said that was going to happen with Larne, no chance.
60 people in the stand, I think.
Yes, mate. But that has happened, and look at what that's done for that community. Mm-hmm. Like amazing. So nobody knows what's around the corner. The one thing that I will say about Glentoran is that fan base will always be there.
Yeah.
It's ginormous, and it will always be there. And I just hope that they get back to, you know, winning trophies, competing every single season, and ultimately winning league championships.
They need success, I think, and as you've touched on there, I'm 31. Glentoran haven't done like anything measurable probably since like I would have recognised or known.
Yeah.
So you have a brand new set of fans who are at the club who are just used to not seeing silverware.
Mediocrity.
So when they get it, that should sort of start that, and hopefully.
Well, you're hoping, you know, because, you know, like if you're if like these billionaires who are buying English Premier League clubs, and you know, so take Bournemouth for example, right? And the American owners that Bournemouth have, right? Like Michael B. Jordan having one of the, you know, like a small share, whatever. Right?
Yeah.
Bournemouth doesn't even hit the stratosphere to the size of football clubs that Rangers and Celtic are.
Yeah.
Doesn't even come close. But the reality is that Bournemouth has maybe 20 times the money that they two global powerhouses, Rangers and Celtic, have, right? And that's the crazy thing about the world we're living in. The English Premier League is the most hyped up, overrated in my opinion, the last couple of seasons, because I do not see the superstars. You know, people might go, Haaland's a player, of course he's a player, right? Or that sort of stuff. But when you go back, you know, the Gerrard, the Scholes, the Lampards, the Drogba's,
every
the
team
Giggs,
had
every team, Johnny. Do you know what I mean? Had like, and I don't see that now. But unfortunately, that's just the way it's gone. But you've got a situation now in the Irish League that there's people out there wanting to put money into a football club.
Yeah.
So when I initially put the money in, I think it was maybe just Larne and Linfield it was competing against. Now there's another big one at the table.
Yeah.
Coleraine. So that makes the job even harder. And the expectation levels have diminished with Glentoran, and it maybe could suit this season that Coleraine is hotly tipped to win the league.
Massively, yeah.
And we'll just
massively
go about our job, stay under the radar, right? Because there's good players at the football club.
Well, this is the thing. I genuinely thought that was going to put them through last year. I think that Coleraine took all the hype last year as well. And they've just went and spent big money on another 4 or 5 that are all going to play. And to be completely honest with you, I watched the game. I'd done the commentary for the Community Shield final. And there was about 6 of them that will start. That weren't in the squad. And yes, Larne won 1-0. But I'm sitting going like, they're starting. And that's the likes of your Coopers, your McMurrays.
Yeah.
And those boys are sitting in a stand, cigars, watching, going, with a serious side.
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think when you've got Linfield's manager David Healy coming out and saying, I think he said that we're now like the 4th highest payer in the league. Mm-hmm. You know, as much as it pains me to say it, they are the biggest football club.
Yeah.
You know, and trust me, that pains me to say it. But that is the reality. You know, that is the reality. They're the most successful football club, trophies won and what have you. Like, if somebody said that 5 years ago, that they're going to be the 4th highest payer in the league, people thought you were crazy. So times are changing, and I think it's also beneficial to the Irish League.
It is.
Now, has the standard dramatically improved? Fitness has improved. Has the game on a whole improved? I'm not 100% sure. And it's no slight on the players that are playing in Irish League football or the managers or coaches involved. But if you said to me just now, right, Scott, give me the top 6 players in Irish League, I couldn't tell you who they are, Johnny.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you who they are. I could maybe tell you 10 years ago who the top, 6 players were in the Irish League and all that sort of stuff, you know. I mentioned greats there like, Glenn Ferguson, Gary Hamilton, Glenn Dunlop, Vinnie Arkins, and you know, they just players like that just rolled off the tongue. So we live in different times, and it is. And do you know the thing as well, Johnny? The easiest thing in the world is to criticise. The easiest thing in the world is to say, see, in my day it was better.
Yeah.
Right? Fucking shut up. You know what I mean? There's an element of truth that my old man always said George Best player I ever saw in his life. Of an Irish boy, East Belfast boy for the Craigiest day, right? Best player I've ever seen in my life. I'd made the argument that, see if George Best played on these modern pitches, see if George Best played with these fitness regimes, son, do you know what I mean? And it's hard to argue with that sort of, mindset. But, I always want an Irish league to do well. It gave me a livelihood, Johnny. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean, pal? And I want to see it, do well and continue. But I just think that the modern game, the flair player, is leaving us.
Yeah, it's too regiment. I believe that too, yeah.
We don't, like see this side to side, playing out for the back. I watch Chelsea, and I go off my nut when they're playing out for the back, right? And it's like, the players are being told to play like this. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, oh my goodness. But again, that's all opinions. Some people might watch this and go, "It's not a lot of shit."
But then again,
everybody's entitled to their opinions.
This episode is brought to you by San Pellegrino Ciao. A gift from Italy to your home. San Pellegrino Ciao is a flavored sparkling water made with real fruit juice, finished with a pinch of Sicilian salt for a perfectly balanced taste. So which flavor will you choose? Peach, lime, blood orange, cherry, or maybe the all-new limoncello? crafted in Italy with 0 grams of added sugar. San Pellegrino Ciao. Buy it now.
You know, would I go out my way to spend a fortune to go and watch? I don't think so. No, the SPL last season was as entertaining as it's been in a long time.
Yeah.
A long time. You know, was the football of the highest standard? No, but I tell you what, they were cut and thrust games.
It's the running.
Yeah, the running was brilliant.
That's why I think that our league's got better.
Yeah, the way they structured it, the way they've structured it,
and it's just the fact that there's more teams competing.
Yeah, not
like
totally.
You have that Heart side who were flying, and they're going to do this.
Yeah,
that made that league entertaining right up to the last game.
Absolutely,
and it was so perfect the way it fell. And you're sitting going like they have a massive chance here. And yes, they've few results. Celtic again on the running.
Yeah.
Last minute goals and a couple of people scoring top corners, and you're sitting going,
I know.
Hi, like.
I know, totally. But you know, that was brilliant. But ultimately, you know, if you're a fan of any football club, all you want to see is your team do well.
Yeah.
So if there was a poll of Glentoran fans last season, is your team improving? Yeah, it is improving. So it's getting better. As you say, this generation of fans doesn't know success.
Yeah.
So they can't compare it. So they're excited about the potentials of what ifs.
Mm-hmm.
What if we win this? What if we do this? Do you know what I mean? And that has to be there. And I do think that the club is gone in the right direction. And I hope they can just stay under the radar next season. Go about their business. Don't come out and say we're going to do this, we're going to do that.
Yeah.
Right? Just, you know, play everything down and go about your business, and hopefully I could, you know, be sitting here talking to you next season going, you know, Glentoran's league champions.
Hopefully not.
But Linfield's thinking that, Colerane's thinking that, Larne's thinking that.
They are.
They're all thinking that.
But that's what you want.
You do.
You want them all to believe they're going to win, because that's going to make everything more entertaining.
Also, I mean, like you've got a brilliant podcast here, pal, right? And you get Irish League boys on and all the rest of it, and it's fantastic and it's magic. And so you have to go like that. I only have this podcast because I've got content with the league, right?
I need those fans to buy into this because of the people that they've watched.
Absolutely, and that's the thing is that, yes, is the league as good as what maybe it once was? Regarding individuality, flair players, right?
Personality, I would say.
Personalities, right?
You don't have people smoking fags.
No. The game is it Gary Neville on the overlap, and it was a big Patrick Vieira who was on, and they were talking about everything, the fitness levels and blah blah blah. And Gary says the modern day Premiership football player does not drink.
Yeah, at all.
Does not drink. Teetotal. You know, whereas, you know, back when Patrick Vieira was playing for Arsenal, Tony Adams and all the rest of it, right?
He was playing drunk.
Roy Keane, right? Before his time, Brian Robson, right? And, you know, that was the mindset of the football player. I've had a hard week, good result on Saturday, going to have a few jars. You know, whether that is still going on in the Irish League, I suspect it is. Because
to an extent, I would say yes, but I would say more so it's like, no.
Yeah.
I would say the fans would now be, I've seen such and so, what the fuck are they doing out?
Yeah.
And you're sitting going, where have you got this uber mindset that people can't enjoy themselves?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you had to realise 60-70% of the league still working 9 to 5.
Absolutely. That's the thing. But if you're a Glentoran player, you're full time.
Yes. So you're judged differently because of what you're doing.
You're judged differently, you know. So yeah, I mean, I think people at Gerard Lawler and Niffo are doing a great job.
You're one of few, by the way.
Yeah.
After the comments, you're mad. I'm not going to abuse that.
No, I mean, like, you know, he done unbelievably well at Cliftonville. Always carried himself so well, dignified. And he moved into a Niffo role, and he's always been an advocate for the Irish League.
Yes.
He always wants to see the league progressing and all the rest of it. And unfortunately, when you're in the sort of position that Gerald is in, you're there to be shot at.
You're a target.
Yeah, 100%. You're a target, you know what I mean?
And the thing I think too with the background, and I'm not saying this politically as a background or like socially or ethnic groups or whatever, but the fact that he's came from a Cliftonville background, he's been the chairman for so many years, and he's had that, I'm a Reds man and I want the club to do well.
Yeah.
That's never ever going to stand by him. with the job that he's doing. And that's the reason why people are always going to have that. Now, do I think that somebody could probably do a better job than Jared in the role that he's in now? I don't think so. Because I think that he believes in what he's doing. And he also does put himself out to be shot. He doesn't mind taking an opportunity to go, I'll try this.
Yeah.
And just can crack on if it doesn't work.
Yeah. And there's a part of that has to be admired.
It has to be.
But, I agree. But again, you know, it's like, because Gerald was that long at Cuffenville, you know, he is going to always be tagged with a, you know, it's like,
yeah,
I suppose
the red shirts underneath, you know.
Yeah. That's like something like me get that job.
Yeah. Exactly.
You're always going to people go like, Glentoran, do you know
But
what
then
I mean?
again, I think that if you just brought a random businessman in to run that like as a business, there's no affiliation to it.
Yeah.
You need somebody to have the passion for the league.
Yeah.
I think that's why I like doing this.
Yeah.
Because I have a passion to hear good stories from people who have lived what I've lived. And there's a lot of people who have listened to this who have never got the opportunity to do what we did.
I know.
And there's so many good people who get to have their stories.
I know.
Then they just want to hear them.
I know. And that is the thing, is that you know, life is short, and you know, I know that better than anybody these last 5 years, but you know, you have to enjoy the good times.
Yeah.
You have to make memories in life, right? And life is all about making memories. And your memories here in the Irish League are one that you can wax lyrical about. Do you know what I mean? There were more special times of your life, and even more so when you're not playing now, and you just take it for granted that, you know, I mean, big game a day, you know what I mean? I'm going to Windsor, I'm going to the Oval, I'm going to Solitude, whatever. Do you know what I mean? And you know, then all of a sudden that's no there, and it's like, right, okay, blah blah blah. But you know, you've created this social media content, mate, and run a brilliant podcast. Come
There's only a
across well.
certain length of time you can do that for. Like the first initial 6 months of me being injured was like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah,
this is great. I don't have to do anything. I sit here and I eat biscuits.
Is that what you're thinking, eh?
Aye. And then next minute I seen the gut, and I was like, I was like, what do I do? She's probably looking at me going like, you've no legs, you have a gut, you have a child running about, you're lying on that sofa, get out. Like, do something.
Yeah.
Get up, don't be a mess. But as I say, it's been good, but in terms of that, like, you still have the itch for it. I'm lucky that I get to do the media side. I'm lucky that I host the TV and the film.
You are, but then there's a part of that, Johnny, you created that.
I only got that through this.
Yeah.
So, as you say, opening and closing doors.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get the opportunity to go in as a manager. Sometimes somebody asks you to start a podcast.
I know, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So
you either go through it.
Yep.
And you take the opportunity, or
you regret
you
it.
close it.
You look
and
back.
go,
You look back at years to come, and you go, "I should have done that." And that's the thing. You know, like players who are getting offered the wages are getting offered today. Hard to knock back, regardless of the football club that's offering the wages.
Snap your hand off.
Hard to knock back. So when I go back to when I played, there was an enormous pride in playing for Glentoran, playing for Linfield, playing for Crusaders, playing for Cliftonville, and so on. There was an enormous pride to that. There was local boys in the team, and you know, then you get to know the local community and what it means to these people and what have you. And that's not as prevalent in the game now.
No,
it's definitely not. Definitely not.
Eat the hand off someone if somebody offered me more money to go from Linfield to Glentoran.
Yeah,
now it's very common, and I think it's kind of changed because there's so many people coming into the league, and you've had so many people who have never known or understood the concept of the big two.
Yeah,
and they've went to Linfield from Glentoran.
Yeah,
they've been in England, came over, offered more money, go full time. But
yeah,
and then it's like you can't sign for Linfield if you're from Glentoran, and then these kids don't have none the wiser.
No, they
and then you're like, once it happens once, it's like,
yeah. Well, I mean, like, you know, you look at. I mean, the Glens, you know, the Glens lost some smashing players to the Blues due to the financial situation, and they walked off Jimmy Carragher, to name two, who went on to do unbelievable across the city. I'm just glad that I wasn't involved in that era.
You stayed in
I was
that
never
time.
in that position that you know, I would never have done that. And it's alright, people turn around and go, well, Scott, you say that, or the rest of it. I built so many amazing memories with people in East Belfast, Glentoran people, you know, who will always be personal friends, you know, love these people to bits and what have you. And sadly, so many of them are passed away now. And I seen the joy that we brought these people when we did win.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, heard them in the terraces.
Same people.
Yeah, because even when we were winning during the 98 to 2003 period,
aye, if you didn't win enough,
Glentoran fans didn't miss you.
Yeah.
I came back from a desiccated shoulder at Bangor, and free kick, wide area, overhit it, went out for a by kick, and this Glentoran fan shouted, "Hey, young, you better have your desiccated shoulder." I'm running across to the wall. Who the said that?
Stand up.
The guy going, "Scotty, get back on the pitch." Right? So I had a tremendous love and a tremendous loyalty to the football club, and it was just a special time because that era's gone.
Yeah.
You look at the boys that I played with, two great young Northern Irish kids, Andy Kirk, Stuart Elliott, who went on to forge great careers for themselves, across the water. And some of the players that I played with were just amazing, and so great memories, pal. And you cling on to them, and I obviously cling on them because of my career was over early. Eleanor's no longer here, and but yeah, Northern Ireland has been a huge. My two daughters are Northern Irish.
Is that unfortunate?
No, they're what do you call it? I've actually, Johnny, if Northern Ireland's playing Scotland, the war, I'm supporting Northern Ireland.
Good.
So I'm
so would I, but I'm not Scottish.
I'm longer in Northern Ireland than I'm Scotland.
Yeah.
So I've spent more time here than I have in Scotland.
Can we talk about time after football? Mm-hmm. When you talk about the time you've came out of it, right? And just as we touched on, because I'm cautious here, we've probably been going for about 2 hours, and Alan's probably stressing out. 2 hours flies when you're having good conversation with good people. But did you get a horrible taste in your mouth the way things were left, and has that kept you away from football?
Yeah.
And is there ever a route back?
No.
Because of that?
No. It's just again, it's life experiences. The situation left where I resigned from the football club. Some people actually say that I was sacked from the football club. I wasn't sacked, even though it was a horrendous result. But I knew, because I spent so long here, there's no way back after this. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So I was never going to hang about. And the club agreed to pay me 3 months' wages.
I didn't have it.
No. And then Blair Neal, the company I was working for, went in the administration 4 weeks later.
You lost a job too?
I lost 2 jobs. I went from good money to zero. And so yeah, it took a real sickener for it, and just to go. And I couldn't imagine myself being at any other Irish League football club. Mm-hmm. So there was never an urgency, Johnny, to go back into the game on my behalf. And some people are football people who just want to be involved in some capacity, whatever. Yeah. Nah. Did I want to be Glentoran manager? Absolutely. Did I realise the situation I was getting into? No. Knew it wasn't ideal, but didn't realise. I never came after Al McDonald and somebody else. I never came then. Mm-hmm. I came right after Big Al, where all these players were still on massive dough, and they were good players. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? They were league champions the year before, so you can get these players playing, and then here's the wage bill. Contracts up, gotta go. 2 years left, 18 months left, 3 years left. Go try and get my wage bill.
Yeah, no guidance, no nothing.
So no, mate. I then enjoyed spending time with Ellen and the girls. Saturdays were strange, first of all. Do you know what I mean? Because I've been full-time football since I was 16. So
did you get fat?
No.
No, fair enough.
Never, mate. Do you know what I mean? I'm 40.
I wish I could say the same thing.
I've been not blessed. I'm 49 now. I've been blessed that, what do you call it? I was never a boy who put on weight as such, Johnny. Do you know what I mean? Now, I think that went against me a wee bit as well, because when I was in Scotland, if I was a stone or two heavier, and again, maybe people think I'm full of myself here, but I think I would have made a career in Scotland. I would have stayed in Scotland, sort of thing. You know, there's always a reason, Johnny, why a player comes back to Northern Ireland. There's always a reason. It's not because they want to come back.
Yeah.
There's always a reason. Do you know what I mean? Be it a bit light, or you know, just wasn't good enough in general, or the situation after the park, whatever. There's always a reason. But no, so I started to enjoy my Saturdays. Joe got me involved with Radio Ulster, which I really enjoyed for a few Ps. A few times I took headphones off and I went, "This is gay."
Yeah.
and he's like getting back on.
Yeah.
But I really appreciated that time as well. But no, and you know, so I've never had an inkling to go back. Never. And it's a shame, you know, because everybody thinks they've got something to offer.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing I think I can do is that the players that I dealt with as players, as coach, as manager, I can look them in the eye. I didn't try to cheat them. I didn't try to deceive them. Some people might call me an arsehole, call me this or the rest of it.
Yeah.
My outlook in life is, can you look in the mirror? What's looking back at you? Have you cheated yourself? Have you cheated the club? Have you cheated your family? Have you done this? Have you done that? And I've always tried to live my life as best I can. I've always tried to be honest with people, sometimes too honest. And unfortunately that's the way I am, and I'm never going to change, you know, that way. I was brought up to be respectful, but if, you know, somebody tries to dirt you, then that's totally different. But I've never had that inkling to go, I'd love to get back into this. Never, you know. So it's not for me, pal. And obviously I then managed to create a life away from the football. And it's an eye opener, because all you've ever known is a football.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was at Blair Neil, I was sort of in charge of the purchasing, you know, ordering and what have you, procurement. And as I say now, with my job now, I'm away quite a bit.
You enjoy the travel?
I don't mind it, Johnny, but I think that's largely because Eleanor's not with us. Do you know what I mean? If she was still alive, then I think maybe, you know, she's got you away again, that sort of thing. Yeah. Maybe she will be like, brilliant. He's got my head on. He's out the door, cheerio. Do you know what I mean? So it's easy for me, pal. You know, George is 25, Jessica's 21. So they don't rely on their daddy as much now, pal. Do you know what I mean? So life is moving on very quickly.
Was Eleanor happy that you were not in football?
Mm-hmm. Delighted.
It's a ladies' thing.
Delighted.
Lucy's buzzing that I've got injured. And she's like, I don't want you to go back. And I'm like, but love, I think I'm going back. And she's like, please don't.
I think like if Lucy was here just now, I would say he has to keep playing for as long as he thinks he can play. Right? There'll come a point he'll go, I can't do this any longer. And you're at ease.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're sitting in the house just now and you're going, I think I could still do a turn here.
Yeah.
Right? You go out there and you go, I can't do a turn.
I need centre backs to run past me.
Yeah.
For me to go, game over. I can't do it.
So you have to play as long as you can. Yeah. You know, because like I say, 26, mate. That's no age to be retired. So you have to play as long as you can. But I get, you know, Lucy's probably going like that. Do you know what I mean? She wants you on a Saturday and all that sort of stuff. And do you know what I mean?
Probably wants a break. Probably going, you need to take a chance.
well, mate.
I'm like, you can just come to the game.
But you have to play as long as you can.
Yeah.
You have to, because it's the greatest feeling in the world. You know, that feeling of pre-season training and it's in the bank and it's done. Like that's a magic feeling.
Yeah.
You go through hell, do you know what I mean? But then you come at that other side and you're buzzing, you're fit as.
She might touch me again, 6 packers.
You might need to work a wee bit harder for that, pal, you know what I mean? But play as long as you can. But life is short. But Eleanor was delighted when I was the Glentoran manager.
Yeah.
Delighted, because she's an East Belfast girl.
Yeah.
There's no escaping it. You know, so she'd be in the Westbourne and it would be like, you know, the brewery coming with the kegs.
Yeah.
And Eddie Harvey, who ran him, God rest his soul, somebody be going like that, Eddie, you get that dickhead young out the door for and everyone's sitting there, do you know what I mean?
Can't say anything.
Right,
Like,
so you could never escape it, and obviously, like, the ones you love, they protect you to the end.
100%.
I could handle abuse. My mum and dad could handle abuse because they were used to the football world and sort of stuff. You know, you don't want your wife and your children hearing daddy getting called all sorts, and that's the Irish league, but it's very vociferous. People are in your face, they're passionate. But they same people also gave me a living, Johnny.
Yeah.
They gave me a living, pal. Do you know what I mean? They paid their money. I'd tried to do my best for them, and I know they were very appreciative of it. And as I say, the amount of supporters clubs in my career was finished who had nights for me. They gave me checks. You know, you can never forget things like that. And then you do reflect and go, well, do you know what? It was nice to make an impression on people.
Exactly.
And, you know, leave something.
They only do that because of the person.
Yes, pal. You know, and so I take unbelievable pride that you know, people are still nice to me, and you know, they appreciate what I've done, you know, for Glentoran, because it's not always like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's not always like that, pal. You know, people come and go and all that sort of stuff, and I had a career at Glentoran that basically spanned about 15 years. And it was amazing, pal, and one I'll always cherish. You know, but like life, everything comes to an end, you know.
It does. And I have one more question for you. And thankfully, it's not about the Glens, but it's about life after the Glens.
Mm-hmm.
And you touched on it a few times. Obviously, Eleanor's not here. Touched on your father as well in the last sort of 5 years, how difficult it's been for you. But
yeah,
what happened?
So, yeah. So Eleanor broke her ankle, and she broke her ankle, and about a week later, 10 days later, so Eleanor was going through the menopause, right? So when a female was going through the menopause, sorry, not a female, when a woman's going through the menopause, and they have a break of any sort, so a broken wrist, a broken ankle, broken leg, broken arm, the chances of blood clottage increases by 61%.
Okay.
You know, we didn't know this until Eleanor died, and it was crazy, Johnny. As in, me and Eleanor loved a Friday night. So Friday nights were
boozy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beer night.
Wine, beer
with Eleanor, wine with me.
Fair. Fair.
Eleanor could drink, and
Okay.
And we loved her Friday nights, and she'd broken her ankle. And I says, right, come on, we'll get you downstairs. And we got her downstairs and got her leg up, got a few Coronas. And I had been at, the company I work for a company called Otis Elevator, the biggest stuff company in the world. Burj Khalifa, Eiffel Tower, Empire State Building, some of our big buildings with our products. And I'd been at Eleanor to move to the States, to move to America. And she's East Belfast girl, like nosebleed, you know, the Alba Bridge, you know what I mean? So, and just out the blue, she said, see what you're talking about America, what are you talking about? And I got my laptop, and US worldwide sales positions, 82 sales positions right across America, you know, from Seattle to Los Angeles, Minneapolis, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Alabama, everywhere, right? I mean,
right, let's go.
Whatever, do you know what I mean? And I was like to myself, thinking about this. And she says, well, what about Elaine, her sister? I went, well, Otis isn't going to pay for your sister. She went, no, I don't mean that, but like, would you have any objections, you know, like for Elaine to come here for a while? And I says, no, of course not. I say, I'd be at work and happy, you know, you're out with your sister and all that sort of stuff. And so May was like, my God, Jesus, she's kind of contemplating, thinking about this. And then it was the following Friday, and I was leaving work, and George's phoned me, and it's the most horrible scream I've ever heard in my life. And she says, Daddy, something's wrong with Mummy, you need to get home. And I don't know how, so my work's over at Duncrew, okay, and I don't know how I got back home as quick as I did. I live in a cul-de-sac. Arrived in the cul-de-sac. My next door neighbour's son, Jack, is going into his mum and dad's house. And I say, son, get your dad. There's something wrong with Eleanor. Burst upstairs. And she's looked at me. And she's dying. She can't talk. We don't know at the time, Johnny, but what happened was that a blood clot had developed in the ankle. Had travelled up to her lungs. And killed her. So she's looking at me. And it's just, it's horrendous. And my two lassies are there. Peter, my next door neighbour, has come in. Mills O'Halloran, who's a paramedic, has come in. And I know she's dying. I've got her on the floor and they're, giving her mouth to mouth. But they don't know what's happened here. Yeah. They don't know. And then the air ambulance has came. The air ambulance had parked up in the Billy Neal. And these people have came and the air ambulance people are in and the actual paramedics themselves from the ambulance service. But this has gone on and on. Minutes just seem like days. And but at that stage, my whole cul-de-sac is out in tears. And they've got her in the ambulance. At that point, she's still alive. But the ambulance isn't leaving the cul-de-sac. The ambulance is gone like that. And I know they're trying to bring her back. And then the head of the ambulance boy, he's come out and he's just looked at me and he says, Scott, can I take you inside? And there was me and my girls and my sister-in-law and him. And just when she's gone. And life just changed, pal, forever. To see my lassies like that, it was horrendous. And Georgia refused to accept how mummy could break an ankle, and she's gone. And it was Georgia had looked into all this, and I remember 3 days later my daughter's got 8 A4 pages written about pulmonary thromboembolism, blood clottage. And the crazy thing was, Johnny, was that Eleanor died on the Friday. On the Tuesday, we're at the fracture clinic. And they took her boot off. And her ankle was black. Mm-hmm. And I'm used to breakages. I'm used to 3 leg breaks, Johnny. Mm-hmm. So I've seen, it shouldn't look too good anyway. And the consultant just went, "Oh, Eleanor, your ankle." And I said, "Doc, are you not going to take a blood scan or
check it,
a scan of some sort, because obviously Eleanor's going through the menopause." And sorry, when she first broke the ankle, they had given her the thinning, self-thinning. She had to take
like aspirin and that.
She had to take 6 times a day to inject herself blood thinners.
You do that after your operations,
yeah. So she was doing all that, pal, and but she was at the hospital on the Tuesday with me, and it was crazy because we went in, and she had said so a girl came and took her, and the girl's name was Elaine Murray, the same as her sister, right? Okay. And anyway, she goes back, she puts me beside, or puts Eleanor beside me. Eleanor's in a wheelchair, and she went, "You're not going to believe this." Says her son's called Philip Murray. So Philip was Eleanor's brother.
Okay.
Who had passed away 2 years before with cancer. And she had this warm fuzzy glow, as in, geez, that's a sign, innit?
Yeah.
My sisters, my brother, that sort of. Then she got that done, and then 4 days later she was taken from us. And you never go over that.
Yeah.
You never ever go over that. If Eleanor had died of cancer, cancer is a horrendous disease. It's 1 and 2 in the world. We could accept them more as a family because, it's horrendous, the cancer. But to have a broken ankle and for a blood clot to develop and then burst and kill her, it's just unbelievable, pal. So I mean, it's destroyed the family. Because you can never get over, that sort of thing. And I'm just so proud of my 2 girls. Georgia graduated with law and Spanish at Strathclyde Uni. Going to university after losing her mammy and sticking it out, Johnny. Do you know what I mean? And she's doing great. She's a legal associate too at PwC. My youngest, she's working for L'Oreal. And they're just the 2 most amazing, beautiful, young, bright women that I can put them into any environment in the world and they'll be respectful and nice. And if anybody has a reason to have a chip on their shoulder, it's the 2 lassies. They continue their mammy's legacy. George is a spitting image of her mammy. And Jessica's a mammy. Jessica's got her mammy's ears. She would, which she's tremendously proud of. Yeah, but God, yeah, pal. So no, I appreciate you asking, Chum, because it's a very, very, very important part, and it destroyed my mum and dad. And my brother. The whole family circle, because the whole of the Glasgow family just adored Eleanor. My mum, Eleanor lost her mum the year before I met her. Okay. So the bond that her and my mum had, which doesn't really happen with mother-in-laws, right? And it was just amazing. And just my mum and dad had never ever got over it. And then my dad in November, I was flying to Manchester the Tuesday morning. This was a Monday night, and my dad and David, my brother, had been in hospital for 10 years in Glasgow. So mum and dad had went out to Spain. David dropped him off. A month later, David's picked him up, and David's dropped mum and dad off. David's phoned me, and as horrible as this is, but my brother did say this. He says, "Bro, your dad's got cancer." I went, "F*** David, don't be saying that. For f*** sake," he says, "Scott, I want to see the weight my dad's lost."
Yeah.
I went, Jesus. So that was the Friday. I phoned my dad the Saturday. I says, "Dad, my dad's a proud man, tough man." I says, "Dad, David's worried about you." And he went, "I know, son, I'm worried myself." I says, "David's going to take you to the hospital Monday, and right, we'll deal with it. If there's bad news, we'll deal with it, right?" "I know, son, I know." So on the Monday, David went, and I'm flying Tuesday to Manchester in 10 hours. And it couldn't even longer, Johnny couldn't even longer than that. And he's phoned me 9:30 on the Monday night. He's uncontrollable. He can't even speak. "My dad's come on the 4th. It's cancer, son." I went, "How bad is it, Dad?" And he went, "It's bad, son." I says, "Right, me and Jessica will be over." George was already over there. I says, "Me and Jessica will be over. First flight in the morning. Go over first flight." And my dad's in the hospital, lying in the bed, right? And so he's like brilliant, but he's just normal, just talking, right? And Jessica, 21, straight up, lying in the bed with her granda, his granda's girl, cuddling him all the rest of it, and he's just gone, "My lassie, don't be worrying, hen up, it's alright, blah, blah, blah." But I know, David know if it's not alright. The consultant comes in, right? And the consultant looks at my dad, and I know what he's thinking. He's thinking, "I expected to see an alcoholic here."
Yeah.
So my dad, it was the liver it went in my dad, right? And I think Mr. Young, my dad hardly drunk. I never saw my dad taking any more than 3 bottles of beer. Never saw my dad drunk in my life, right? So he hardly drunk. And my dad is so respectful to these consultants and doctors. He said, I'll do whatever you want me to do here.
Yeah.
If it's trials, I'll do whatever, right? But I never gave my dad a time frame, right? And the days just got worse. And they let my dad home. Now, they never came out and said this. See all the nurses in the ward? They were all crying, right? My old man was brilliant. He was just, he's Scott, that's Sarah, Scott, that's Lynn, great lassie, blah, blah, blah. There's a couple of boys who also here that I used to know and all the rest of it. And, and I remember leaving the hospital and there was 3 lassies breaking their heart. And they lassies see this every day in life. They're trained to deal with death. Do you know what I mean?
They deal with it, yeah.
But my old man was a character who made an impression on him, and they knew he's going to hate to die.
Yeah.
And, my work was amazing with me and take all the time you need, Scott, blah, blah, blah. And I slept with my dad every night for 4 nights. My sister-in-law was amazing. And, I'm having to do things that no son or daughter should have to do, taking your dad to the toilet and all that sort of stuff. And you're watching them disintegrate before your eyes. And it came to a point that we were praying for a Marie Curie bed. And you can only get a bed, Johnny, if somebody dies.
Yeah.
Right? So it's just, we get my dad to the Marie Curie up in Stob Hill in Glasgow. And the most amazing people. They're just angels, every single one of them. And we goes in, and it was a South African woman first of all, and then this lassie has arrived who runs the Marie Curie in Stob Hill, and she had a Northern Irish accent. And I'm like, whereabouts in Northern Ireland you from? She went, Belfast. I went, whereabouts in Belfast? And I know she's looked at me and going, why the fuck are you asking these questions? Right? And she went, East. And I went, honestly, it was like, Eleanor, you've sent somebody here, right? And she went, why? I said, I live in East Belfast. I said, I live in East Belfast with 2 daughters, born and bred, East Belfast. She went, oh my goodness, really? All the rest of it. So, anyway, I got my dad settled. The next day, she's came to see me. And turns out her family were massive Glentoran fans. She doesn't know who I am. Do you know what I mean? She's been in Glasgow since she was a young lassie at university, going through medical and all that sort of stuff. And here's the crazy thing, Johnny, is that Eleanor died on the 27th of November, right, 2020. This is now the 24th of November last year. She knows that Eleanor died on the 27th of November. And I've said to them, like, how cruel this life is my dad going to die on the 27th of November, the exact same date that Eleanor died? And there's part of me that wants to believe and think, my dad knew I can't die on the 27th. I need to hang on here to the 28th. And he died on the 28th. And myself and Jessica were with him the whole time. Jessica never let go of his hand. Never even, like they're talking 6 or 7 years, Johnny. Never even, but she said, I might go to the toilet. She must be busting. I'm going to leave my granda. Right, and she be rubbing his horn, kissing to tap his head, and he passed away peacefully, pal. And if it was, my mum knows this, if Eleanor was still alive, I'd still be in bits to this day about my dad. But because of what we've went through as a family with Eleanor, it's hardened me in a way, pal, that I don't like. It's just this. Listen, I miss my dad every day. I get upset about him, but then, unfortunately, pal, this life, I'm able to look back and I go, my dad saw his kids growing up. My dad saw his grandkids. Do you know what I mean? And all these holidays. The best family holiday we ever had was Florida. Me and Eleanor and the 2 kids in a lane with my man and dad. Matty Bet and Mum Connery arrived, right? And special memories. But it's been tough, pal. It's hard, but you know what? Every family goes through grief. And the crazy thing about this world is, Johnny, is that there's been many, many times that me and my girls have felt sorry for ourselves Why was Mommy taken from us? Why? And then you switch on the TV and you go like that. Oh my God.
And there's madness.
What is that poor family gone through?
Yeah.
You know, so thank you, Paul, for asking. You know, thank you.
I know I didn't.
No, listen, mate,
Holy
it's thank you, because...
No, it's all part of the story, Paul, Joe.
Yeah, she was my world. She was my biggest supporter. She was loving my life. And, you know, as crazy as this sounds, you know, my two girls go, Daddy, you know, you're 49, you're still a young man. I don't ever expect to meet anybody.
Yeah.
And I've often said what me and your mommy had, 21 years. There is billions of people on this planet who have never felt that love, never felt that you know, that's that look that you give each other. And that's no saying that because she's not here.
Yeah.
You know, the people who know us, the friends, the family, and all that, we all knew that
that's the way it was.
We were solid, pal, you know, and that it was, you know, that was me and her and the kids, and anything else was a bonus. And so I hate the way that life has made me, that it has hardened me to different things, because really I should still be so emotionally upset. My mum was really struggling. My mum can't handle my dad not being here, because all she's ever known for 60 odd years is my dad.
Yeah.
So my brother and my sister-in-law Ray and the kids are amazing, looking after my ma. But it's tough. So really for me, I want to move on from Northern Ireland. You know, I want to go to the States if that opportunity is still there with the company I work for, because driving around East Belfast is just full of memories.
Yeah.
And it's tough, mate. It is, you know, and I think it's important that men do speak how they feel and don't just bottle it up. I've been, my two girls have kept me sane, pal. If they weren't here, that'd be different. Do you know what I mean? But my girls have made, I always go like that, what would Eleanor say to me? And they'll be saying to me, Scott, pick yourself up.
Time to go. Make
sure they two lassies are alright. Right? Yeah. That's all that matters. Make sure they're alright. Okay? And that is, but you know what? It's a credit to the mammy that I haven't had to do too much.
Yeah.
You know, they're because of the football, as you know, pal. You're away from the house all the time.
All the time.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, so it's your wife, it's your partner that really is schooling your children and bringing them up the right way, and the difference between right and wrong and what have you. And my girls are a legacy of their mammy, and I believe the greatest thing you can ever give this world is your children.
Yeah.
Your children reflect who you are as a parent, who you are as a human being, and I'm immensely proud. And this isn't just because Eleanor's not here. We're all proud of our children. We all see them as this and that. But what my lassies have had to overcome and be strong and continue their mummy's legacy is just amazing, pal. So now from the bottom of my heart, pal, thanks for asking, because, you know, I want to talk about it.
No, I wouldn't have left it out because it was mentioned a few times, and I'd never heard the story, so it's part of it. So I was like,
do you know what, mate? There's this is the first time I've ever publicly spoke about it. You know, when she first died, and you know, I got on tremendously well with like Stephen Beacom and that, and but I never ever wanted to. So it's taken up to 6 years to really be able to talk about it and say exactly what happened and what have you, and listen, you know, it kind of people might have sort of known me from afar and interpreted the type of character I am and all the rest of it. All that ever mattered to me in this world was Eleanor and the girls.
Yeah.
Yes, my mum and dad, my brother, of course I want the family circle to be healthy and to be good. But if you have the love of your life beside you and your children are good, anything else is a bonus, because life is cruel at times. Yeah. Life just kicks you in the balls, and you've got two options, Johnny. You continue or you give up.
Yeah.
And I used to look at coming from Glasgow, right? Glasgow's got a horrendous alcohol problem, a horrendous drug problem. Glasgow's still the homicide capital of Western Europe, right? And I used to look at people like, God forgive me, down and outs, homeless people, let me state them, And now I'm going, what happened in their life
To make them.
that put them in that position?
100%.
So it was pure ignorance, and it took the tragedy of Eleanor's death that gives you that outlook in life to go, what are we complaining about here?
Yeah.
What are we moaning about? I used to come in and go like that. So like Glasgow boy, mate, right? There has to be iron brew in the fridge. See if there's no iron brew in the fridge.
Is this actually true?
Oh, I mate, right? I'm cranking up, right? And I remember
Even now?
Oh,
Do you get like, can you buy it in the shop?
Mate, I got a 24-pack delivered every 3 weeks from Amazon. Yeah, right. So Eleanor done the shop on the Friday, and Marks and Spencer's, Tesco's up Newton Breeder. And I create stupid wee things, mate, right? You're working all week, come in Friday, open the fridge, but away, just full top to bottom, do you know what I mean? And I'm like, hey, what the f***ing brew? Right? She's going, don't you f***ing start. I'm like, you joking me? I was like, mate, I am.
Brilliant.
Mate, stupid wee things.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That you get annoyed about, right?
100%.
And I've got the blah, blah, blah. So her death has just had the most devastating effect on the whole.
It's the small things probably the hardest. That you're like,
Aye, mate.
that was my wee thing.
Yeah. You know, and just, it's crazy. Eleanor made a beautiful salad sandwich on a Sunday, right?
Just salad?
Made just the works, but right? The works, right? And beautiful.
Chicken or anything in it? Like?
Everything, mate. Everything. Full
But I
biff.
say, you can't just have
Full
leaf.
biff, mate. Mary Berry's salad sauce as well, mate. Right? Top.
Square sausages or something in there.
Square sausages with a Glasgow roll, mate. I go back into Glasgow for that.
I don't even want to talk about that.
But it's all those wee things, you know, that you're like, you know, I've basically, Johnny, I've had to learn to cook properly.
Good. Well, I'm glad you became an adult.
Yes, mate. Do you know what I mean? Because so my lassies now say, "Daddy, your spag bowl's the best in the world," and all that thing. So no, we continue to keep her legacy alive. We talk about her as much as we can. It's hard looking at photographs and videos.
Yeah,
you know that's tough, pal. But yeah, mate. You know, so no, thank you, pal.
No, well, here, thank you. I mean, this is like just to let people know, like this is the first time that we've laid eyes on each other.
I know, mate.
Do you know what I mean? So, for you to have the confidence, the comfortable ability to sit here and have that conversation is definitely going to go down a treat, especially for people who have probably been through the same thing.
Yeah, no, well, look. I mean, I don't sugarcoat anything, and I'm an honest guy. You know, if you were a twat, no, I wouldn't entertain this sort of stuff. But you know, you're a great guy, mate. You have a great way about you. You know, I've seen your podcast, and you know, I'm more than happy, you know, to talk about the most precious thing in my world.
Absolutely.
Which was Helen and my girls. You know, and that's befitting of you, pal. You've got a great setup here. You do amazing, mate. With the contribution you're making towards Irish League is just fantastic. And that wee bit at the end there, if that, you know, can make one or two people sit up and talk about their own sort of difficulties in life, then you know what? We're helping each other.
Exactly.
Because life
There's no better way to finish.
Yeah.
Being positive.
Thank you, but
I just wish I had replaced the lightwood water with a wee can of brew. But
we can't have brew with them, lovely, mate. That would have topped it off.
I'll see you next year when we come back. I'll be a can of brew, yeah.
I'll be about 24-pack.
And he takes some home for the fridge. Well, listen, we finish on hugs.
Yes, pal.
As always, so...
Mate, thank you very much. Oh, appreciate that. Thanks, pal.
Absolutely unbelievable, man. Oh... And here's the working together in the future. I'll make something happen. Promise you. We'll get you back in that stadium soon. We'll do some commentary. We'll do something.
Well, mate, if you
just take me to America, and I can just get rid of all this.
Well, if you make the call, mate, then maybe it can happen.
I will. But listen, thank you very much. Well, join us next week on the On the Spot Football Podcast for another fantastic guest. We're over and out. What a fantastic episode. See you soon.